Hey, I've been watching some of the guys turning. Boy, y'all coming up with some great ideas and stuff. Man, I'm getting ready for my trip to Waco. I got a prep list of things I got to get together. Oh, stickers are on the top of the list. Real, yeah, really. Uh, but the been looking at things and
That'll teach you
checking
not
on
to look.
ideas. Pardon me.
Ouch.
Oh, hot mic. Okay, but I was explaining it to a guy at the Apple store yesterday. I was trying to get Waze, Waze, installed on my phone for travel. My daughters told me, don't use that Google thing and all that maps. You need to get Waze because it's easy to figure out. It was for a while until it started talking to me through the car. Then it was rather confusing. Um, and I can understand maps. I mean, some of us got it and some of us don't for having a map and know which way is where and when you go around town. I have a directionally challenged wife. Really, it used to be a joke when we first got together 35 years ago. So I could take you to the Walmart parking lot and walk around 2 or 3 laps because you'll never know where we were parked at. Um, and she could do the same thing once we got in the store because I don't see anything. But we're later. I was looking for alternate routes because there's a real nightmare in Lake Charles with traffic down there. So somebody told me the other day, why would you bother going to Lake Charles? And hey, they got a good point. 20 minutes more, I don't have to go through all that nightmare down. And 20 minutes is 20 minutes. And a nightmare is a nightmare. And remember this when you're out there. Everybody's got to get there to that stoplight ahead of you. Remember that. Whenever you're going to a stoplight, the guy behind, he's got to get there before you. It's a challenge. And I really don't like those challenges. It seems to be just a simple waste of life. Um, but I'm getting everything together. I downloaded the some information from the website about vendors and demonstrators and all that. I got to get my computer, my laptop back to the printer. Yeah, what we had to do some reorganizing at the house, so the printer is now safe and secure. I gotta go find it. But get my plan out, my making my plans together. And we're gonna be getting together at the dinner table to have a little quasi meeting. All the Worldwide Woodturner members getting together and recruit some new ones. That's right. We're going to sticker everybody we can find, every lathe we can get our hands on, and get them all together and get them banged up and let them understand this idea 5 years ago. This whole thing came about at SWAT 5 years ago. Uh, that idea worked out, and we're going to have a little get together and have a little fun. I can't wait to see what y'all come up with. I really can't. Somebody got the table markers, you know, and anybody else got cannons? We'll get a couple of things. And hats. I got my hats. I gotta find them again. Um, but getting ready for that trip, it really is a highlight of my life. This and just to get together with other woodturners. You see, being a worldwide club, we don't really have a formal gathering, where we all get together and cause trouble at one time, have fun, share ideas, um, see who's turning what and how. You, that's what a good symposium is about, or a good gathering is about, a good wood turning. See, SWAT came about because of turnabout too. It's a bunch of friends got together, found a spot, and then it grew up. That's how a lot of things do it because it's loved and there's people that like what they're doing and they appreciate it. And money wasn't a major driving factor. And that's not our major driving factor. We can get together. So you wouldn't believe this, but there's a faction plotting against that rule of not getting together and bunch it all up one spot and really cause some hell. But no, I'd like to get together with you guys. I like to just have an opportunity to go one-on-one with you. I've lost a lot of my wood turning ability and my because of this or lack thereof. You know what it's like when you walk into a room and you can't remember why you went there? I suffer that 50 times a day. It's not old. They tell me it's a disease that I have from this Agent Orange crap. But we all go through diminishing properties, and I suffer from information overload. I keep wanting to put it all in there. So what I have in there, I can't get out. And maybe I'm with you and I'm seeing you do something and I'm right there. And I can swatch that tool going in and I can say, but you know what? If you do this, and you pick up 1 foot and twist your head a little bit, maybe you get sweet. There are people that have that little bitty twist, that little bitty kink in their turning technique that maybe they don't even understand they have it, but you see it. You see, you got to stop what they're doing, stop watching what they're doing and watching how they're doing it. And boy, you pick up some ideas. That's the beauty of all these things. Don't watch the outcome. The guy's going to turn something that's fantastic. I mean, it wouldn't get him there if he didn't. But watch his technique. Watch how he goes about it by presenting a tool. And it makes a big difference because, I mean, he's not going to go in and jug a tool in there that's going to immediately be addressed improperly or inserted improperly or charged in. Gouge is a terrible term for a tool. We inherited that term. But to gouge it in there and tear some wood out, whereas Mark's lay it right all along, it's slice it out. Go in and slice it. Present the tool where you can slice it out. Well, watch how the guy presents his tool. Watch how it presents his tool, not only on the tool rest, but coming off the tool rest. How it's held, how it's presented, what angle it's at. Does he kick it down and run that back edge of that bevel, the cutting surface, or does he ride the front point, or does he really cock it in and go for that bullet? And you'll be surprised how different that is from what you do. And all you have to do is put the brain in gear and say, all right, he made a good, smooth, easy cut, and he did this. So slow the lathe down. Oh, yeah, slow it down. Don't speed it up. Slow it down. Slow it down and watch the cut. And if you can use junk wood, it's even better. I can call them junk wood, like 2x4, pine, or loplolly, or whatever you got. Not this exotic, because you want to see the slices coming off. And you want it to react to the blade. You see, if it's hardwood, you can scrape it away. If it's softwood, you got to slice it away. So you learn how to put that cutter in there and twist it. And here's the on and off button. It's right there. It's almost every tool you have is an on and off button. I turn it on, I turn it off. I turn it on, turn it off. That's all it takes. It's not this and this and this and climbing up over the top of the lathe. None of that ever works. It's a good way to get hurt. But if you watch what that guy does, he puts the tool up and then he twists it and turns it in. And if you want somebody that's really good with a gouge, I don't think we're going to get Mark Slater to do a demonstration anymore. He's got some problems. But yeah, if you watch them turn, you would appreciate that he doesn't put a lot of effort into turning. He get with one hand. This isn't his current physical condition. With one hand, he can put his tool down on a rest, present it to the wood, twist his hand, and make a slice, and little fine spinnies coming up on top. Ruby will do that. I mean, I've seen Scott and Doug and handful of other people do demonstrations on this in these meetings that do the same thing. Don't watch what they're turning, watch how they're getting there, and then start to adopt their technique. Here's the thing, you can copy anybody's work anywhere. You might be copying their mistakes, you might not get their achievements, but you can copy their work. That's just the world. But to just take that tool and fine-tune its use where you can sweetly address it. And what I love to see is when somebody has a piece that looks almost beautiful, and then they whoop up, and that's a technical term, whoop up, a scraper with a good edge on it, and they back scrape something, and you can barely see the wispies come off of it. And that piece is equivalent to about a 400 sand, and there's not a tool mark on it, and it's peeled down beautiful, and it's slick as can be. And you say, how did they do that? They sliced it. They didn't abuse it. They didn't tear it. They didn't gouge it. They didn't rough it. They sliced it. Okay, it was a scraper too, and they backbladed it. What it meant backbladed, it didn't go forcing into it. They rode the curl. They rode the curl. They pulled back on it. The little burl that shows up on a scraper and put a good edge on it. Rode that. It's like a scrape. Just peels it right off. If you got the technique right, and remember, these things attack wood. So if you go dead hard and dead flat, and you go hard in there, something's got to give. So let's be relieving, pick it up on the shoulder a little bit, give it a bias, a turn of an angle, so you reduce what's making contact. And you get down the way you're only contacting on a portion of it. And you round to a square, fine. But you're only riding on one little bevel. Look at the mechanics of it. Make that slight little slide. I love that. And when you see a guy do that, he only has to do it once or twice. You don't have to go back and forth forever. Once or twice, you knock the fuzz off. Talk about saving sandpaper, but you got a better finish than sandpaper. You've got a slice finish that you can pretty much start with the stain on if you want to, because you don't have torn fibers, you don't have pulled fibers and destroyed fibers and crushed fibers. Remember, sanding is braiding. It's not a cutting, it's a braiding. So whatever you sand, you have rubbed off. And if you take your hairbrush, I don't have a hairbrush. I don't know what they use this for. If you take a hairbrush and keep pushing it on the top, the edges will get burnt, rubbed over, and they'll get knotty. And it won't work as well. Well, think about your wood as being a hairbrush. If you push down on it too hard and rub on it, even with the bevel of a tool, you'll burnish it, seal it, close it. Well, it might feel nice to you, but it's not going to accept the finish. But when you want to be able to look inside, you can't. You close the door. Look at, oh, wow, that looks so good. Maybe I can, add a little more finish. Really? It's like that mystery stuff in the bottle that'll make it miraculously look great. No, get back to how you cut it or how you sliced it. That's what I like to see about a demonstration or a symposium. You get those ideas. You get to watch those guys. And the beauty of SWAT and a lot of other places, but particular SWAT, you're there with the guy. And when you go eat lunch, he's across the table from you. When you walk through the room, he's there. When you go on a jaunt, if he's there. Leave him alone there. But that's where you can ask these guys one-on-one. Look, I got this problem. If you got a piece of wood that didn't finish out right, bring it with you. It's easy to say, look, I got this. What did I do wrong? Or what can I do right? Because most of the time they can help you right there. So that's what I look for, because it's a chance for me to take what I think are my flaws and say, hey, what you got? And that's the beauty of these things, the symposiums and workshops and hanging out, even hanging in tool areas. I mean, I have been to a symposium where I've spent the entire day walking around the tool area. I didn't spend a lot of money, but I visited everybody and hung out with everybody the whole day. you come back with so much knowledge you can't put in a bucket. It's just, it's great. And stop, I've made a lot of friends that way. I still got a lot of friends that way. And it's good that you can call those people later and say, remember we talked about, some of them they can't remember yesterday, but hey, we can always go back and visit again, you know that. So we have a great group tonight. We're down a little bit on participants, but hey, they're coming in. What's it, 190 degrees outside? Summertime, people go on vacation. I think we're in a cold front in New Orleans. It's only in the 80s today. So we'll have a good demonstration tonight. We'll have some gallery, got some ideas. We're taking your ideas and your thoughts and your input. You know what? I was looking at the rundown of demonstrators, and we need some new blood in the demonstrator zone. And this is an invitation to all you new members and all the old members, because everybody's invited. There's no prerequisite except you need to be able to demonstrate. And let me tell you how complex it is. You got one of these? Yeah. You got one of these, you're a demonstrator. That's all it takes. Don't get fooled by it. We've got some guys with some very nice 4-cam, 5-cam situations and switchboards and all that. I've got them all in the back room. And I could set up a beautiful studio back there, but I don't need it. If I did a demo today, I'd pull up my iPad. I found out my iPad was excellent for it. Why? Had a bigger screen. I was doing the preview. Yeah, kind of spoiled me. But you got a camera, you got an iPhone, we can do it. And you can do it beforehand and edit it with one of those systems that's on the internet now and give it the edited version. And how long can it be? If you have a 10-minute tidbit that will help other woodturners, we'd like to see it. See how easy it is? If you got a little idea, share with others. And then there's other ways. We're going to do the tips and tricks again in about 2 months, because that's a great time for us to sneak in the back and look over your shoulder and see what you're up to. But always looking for ideas. Many demonstrations are always welcome. If you've got one, you got one in the can, you can send it to us. If things get kind of slow, we can use it. But we're always in the market for what the new turners have, because whatever you have, we might not know about. And see, that's more information in the pile. And because we don't have a hierarchy, because you don't have to be in Jedi, and there's now money involved, our restrictions are very limited. Limited restrictions. How would that be? All right. It's like unlimited dues. We don't have any limit. We don't have any dues. All right. So about 10 minutes after the hour, 6 o'clock Central Time, I'm Captain Eddie Castellan. You have got your woodturning club on tonight. That's the worldwidewoodturners.org. It's your woodturning club. Invite a friend when you come each week and remind them that every single thing that happens in our meetings is on our website. There's our webmaster, David. Yeah. And he lives in Crescent City, California. Got fantastic weather, he says. David puts everything on a website. And if you've got something to share with our membership, put it on a website. Yeah. You got an idea, a plan, a drawing, whatever. You can give all that to David, send it to him. But then you got another guy, JJ. Now, there's a troublemaker. You see, we went along for a couple of years. We had a little email. We sent out once a month with just some stuff that we could gather. And I was trying to put it together. And it didn't click for me very well. And Joaquin stepped up and said, hey, I want to edit the newsletter. Have you seen it? Have you seen it? Have you seen photographs of your work in it? Well, if your work wasn't in it, it's on you. Because we have got a world-class newsletter. It comes out every other week. There's a new edition coming out next Wednesday. Yeah. And it's got art and features by our members. No advertisement, no promos, no deals, no nothing like that. It's just wood turning. And it's wood turners talking to wood turners. And we're always looking for input. So if you got something that's really beautiful, when you show your piece tonight and people go, oh, wow, guess what? That's a commitment to send the photograph to JJ. Really? That is. I mean, what else you gotta have? And to share with people, let them see it. And also goes to the website. But it's gonna be the world's greatest newsletter dealing with wood turning. And I'm very glad to use that term. The world's greatest newsletter dealing with wood turning. Because it's your wood turning. Hey, what else would you expect? Are we gonna do a gallery tonight, Dane?
Well, yeah, we are, but I've got we got a particular member that had a problem needed to be solved,
Okay,
and
what's that?
and so we're going to go to him and see what he did to rectify his deficiency that he had. And I think it's it's in lines for a lot of folks, especially well, any and all of us wood turners that are able to do something like that. I don't think it's that expensive. It's something to be able to save up for, and what a way to have a shop and display your work at the same time. So without further ado, let's go to Mr. Patrick Hogarth here, North Carolina, and he's going to give us a shop tour of his new facility. Hey, Pat, we got you now.
Okay, might be better if I get on my phone. Be a lot easier than trying to took this computer around.
Oh, okay. So you need to log in with your phone?
Yeah.
All right. Well, why don't you do that? We'll do a couple gallery and then we'll come back to you.
Okay, that'll be good.
Okay. All right. So let's go back to Dane. We'll do a couple galleries here. So I just switched veterinarians. I have a cute little girl, new girl that's my new pet doctor for my diabetic cat. I noticed that she had her hair all pulled up and pinned in with a couple chopsticks that she'd cut in half. And so at the end of the appointment, I told her, I'm like, I see you wear hair sticks. I go, boy, are you in luck getting me as a new client. And then my wife elaborated on what I did and this, that, and the other. And she conned out of her, what her favorite color was. She said it was green. And then later on, and I'm like, well, green, you got dark green, then you got light green. And and she goes, well, you've probably never heard of this color before, but it's chartreuse. I like stuff, around the chartreuse frame. And I'm like, well, I'm a good old boy from the southeast of Ohio. I go and went bass fishing all my life, and chartreuse was one of my favorite colors for skirts on spinner baits and buzz baits. So I go, so yeah, I know what chartreuse looks like. And so I thought I was going to be able to would have to take my cat in on Monday. Things worked out to where I didn't have to go in, so I'm still holding on to the sticks until I do go in. But this is what I came up with. So she wanted them longer than the standard 5.5, 6-inch sticks. So these are 7 1/4, and so quilted maple.
Got a good glint on them, really do.
Yeah. And then
great.
The other one's got a lighter color. And so I used grit dye with aquamarine to make the collar. Here's what the points, the ends look like. Probably better if I held it behind a piece of paper. And then the final one, thought I'd be a little more artistic with it and turn a spear. And then I used an acrylic gold pearlescent gold ink just for the spear. And then again, all quilted maple and the same dye. So they came out well.
Now, how does your wife get along with you giving golden gifts to girlfriends?
Surprisingly, she's really down with it. And so she's told her, whatever, whatever you want made, along those lines, that you ain't got to worry about it. He'll make it for you. And, she swears up and down, she's gonna pay me for it. I made a smaller set for her the first time I saw it, so we saw her, and then a couple of days later went back because we had the Libra 2 diabetic sensor installed on the cat, so we could get the sugar curves easier and quicker, and share it in the cloud so she could see it real time. And so that's when I brought her, the standard size set, and I did my um, shopping bag starry dyed pattern, and she loved them. And then from there, that's when Tina just elaborated on, you can get whatever from him. So yeah, so yeah, she's good with it, and it's a great feeling to be able to do something like that. And as most of us know, we're all woodturners. We give away more stuff than we sell, if we're actually being honest about it. And it's a very good feeling, to see the joy of something simple that you give away to somebody, and refuse their payment and whatnot. Me being the funny guy, I did tell her, whenever she orders something, next time she, does want to order something from me, that I will amortize that cost into the new product. So, everything's all good on that front. And she paused and laughed, and she's like, "Oh, you're an accountant." I'm like, "You nailed it." And so we had a good laugh about it. And but yeah, so nice set of sticks. As you can see, they're all the same size. So they're 7.25 inches long. At the bottom, they're about 1.5 mil at the point, and then the first half inch up they're 2 mil, and then the rest of it, it's all 5 mil up to the head, whatever shape you want to do for the heads. They do two, if they got long hair, they go two on the top and one in the side. And yeah, anyhow, hair sticks are simple, good SKU project, good skill builder.
Nice.
Highly
job.
recommend making them. And then I just see that Patrick came in. And so with that, let me span back to Patrick, and then we'll do his shop tour, and then we'll get back to some gallery.
Okay,
All right,
you got me?
Pat. Yes, sir.
Okay. This all came about because I've turned so much stuff that I've pretty much filled the house full. And I told my wife I was going to just build like a little barn or something to put it all in. And then we got to talking, and she said to build something like a tiny house and make it like a gallery. So this is what it turned out to be. And pretty much all the framing I did on the sawmill. So I didn't have to buy that. And it took me about 3.5 months. But I turned all the porch batters for it. These post toppers, I turned those on the lathe. Oh, what that was.
That's
The inside is, I got a few shelves put up, and it's still kind of jam packed. I need to do some more shelving.
Oh my God.
They're all packed full, and still got some inside the house that I need to get out, but
that's a hell of a
This
start
is-
there, Patrick. Wow.
So how would this work, Patrick? Do you invite people in to look at your stuff, or how is this? What's your thinking on this?
I've kind of advertised a little bit on Facebook and word of mouth, and just let people come in and look, and if they want to buy something, they can buy it. If they don't, and look and enjoy.
Right?
Cool.
Wow.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
it looks good, Patrick.
Fantastic.
But I've got racks and racks full of stuff. Like I said, I've been turning for about 8 years now. And this was the first bowl I ever turned.
Nice.
Hey, Patrick,
Yes,
you thought about turning something?
I might get around to it after a while.
Mm,
And these are actually bathroom sink basins.
Uh-huh.
wow.
And they were actually turned for a gallery up north of me, and then they decided they didn't want them, so now I'm stuck with them.
Hmm.
Then I've got these.
That's why you make them pay for it up front.
That's what'll happen the next time.
Yep.
But this is my platter rack that I built for all of the platters.
Mm-mm-mm.
Looks fantastic.
Thank you. And
Wow.
then here's another rack. But I got to build some more shelves and
Mhm.
make some more room.
Wow.
That is just incredible.
And then I had a couple of guys wanting me to make them some paddles for stirring like Brunswick stew and stewed potatoes and stuff. So I got started on that and didn't know when to quit.
Ah,
So now I've got several of them. This piece, to me, I left it natural because of the bugs tracks, I guess you'd call it.
That
Yep,
is
years ago, my son called that bug writing. So I've kept some of that in my pieces too. Very cool.
And then this little room over here, this building is totally off grid. That's my power supply. It's a solar generator. So all my electricity is free.
oh, there you
I
go.
got a 3D printer. I'm just getting started in that. So that's a whole nother animal.
Another rabbit hole.
Then my little desk. That's where I take my photographs. And then my laser engraver.
I love it
But
all.
it was fun. It was a lot of hard work, but I've done woodworking all my life, so I decided I would take a try at it.
Well, well done. Well done.
Yes.
Very nice.
well done.
Yeah, it's very nice, Patrick. A lot of work.
Yeah, I watched
you.
progress photos as it was being built. And once you got it all completed, I started hounding, do a tour of the little house with the little gallery there, and I thought that, it's a nice little project, for a lot of folks, that, have a side yard or a backyard that's big enough to accommodate something like that. It's very doable.
Yes, it is. And it's very enjoyable. I mean, just to invite people in, and like I said, if they just want to look and see what you got, it's just, I love it. And
Love it too.
I give away a lot of stuff. I mean, I would just about as soon give it away as to sell it. Just to
Yeah,
see the
sometimes.
expression on somebody's face, and it makes them happy.
Right. Sure does.
But that's it in a nutshell.
All right. Well done, Patrick. I appreciate you doing that.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Very nice.
Bet. All right.
That's really pretty. That's really pretty.
Anybody have any questions for Pat before we go back to the gallery?
I would screen the people that notify you to come and see your place. I would be afraid a little bit.
Well,
The way
That's the chance you take, Al.
Yeah, I know. That's why I question it all the time.
I don't really worry about that much in this area. I mean, most of what comes in to tour the place are like mostly family and friends, people I know. Once in a while, a friend of a friend will come in, and I mean, I'm in a fairly secluded area, but it's easy to keep an eye on it. And I
Right.
keep everything locked, and I've got a little dachshund. And if you know anything about dachshunds, nobody comes up that you don't know it.
Yeah, you can't sneak up on them. Nope. Like
Patrick,
having a
No, you
flock.
can't. Best watchdog in the world.
Patrick, how big is your building?
It is 16 by 20.
Oh, that's really nice size.
And I wish it was about twice as big, but I couldn't afford to go any bigger.
Right?
Very
It's
nice.
big enough.
Yeah. Yeah, you got plenty of space, to put shelves on the wall, stagger them. You can do all kinds of things.
Yeah, I mean, if I rearrange everything and do it right, I've got a lot more room that I can put it.
Right?
If
I
it
mean, you can
starts
even get a loft
overflowing,
down there and sleep.
if it starts overflowing, I just start giving it all away.
Yeah, there you go, right? All right. Once again, thanks a lot on that. Al, we're gonna come to you next for gallery. Turn your camera on.
Thanks, guys.
Sorry, but
Thank you, Pat.
Patrick, first of all, you say you milled all that wood. That's a lot of work. Just looking at the building itself, what was the size of that?
16 by
16 by 20.
24.
There's a lot inside
16
there.
by 20.
And you milled the floorboards and you milled the walls and stuff. That's really
I
nice.
just milled all the framing.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
Yeah,
That's a lot of work.
that-
Really, that's really pretty. Really pretty. Okay, I've got goofy stuff again. I follow a gentleman, Ronald Kane, and I think he's just fantastic. And he made a Saturn box, and it spins.
Yep.
I was just amazed that I was able to do that. And yes, it's
There you go.
now I painted it yellow because I got so friggin' mad because it's friggin' split. So Martin,
Ah.
again, I'll show it. I don't care. I mean, if the wood splits, the wood splits. So that's why I went and I went and painted it. But there's a Saturn box.
Pattern box.
Cool.
And
There you go.
I watched.
Fun idea.
I watched. It wasn't mine, like I said, Ronald Kane. I watched Doug yesterday. I make a lot of these, and oh geez, I almost just dropped this one. But I made a cat. Doug, there you go, buddy. I usually put a button in there, but like I said, I just did it yesterday. But anyway,
Nice.
Very good. What'd you make it out of, Al?
Nice.
I had a tree that's been here for 30 years. It's a Bradford pear. It's still growing, and it split in half about 3 years ago. And just about everything I've ever shown, it's always Bradford pear, and I believe that's what this is. And I think this
Okay.
here is a different part of it, a little bit higher up the branch or so. But as you know, that's all I have. But it's like we've been talking. It's been close to 100 here all week. So
There you go.
anyways, I was glad that go and watch his video that I was able to make that a captured ring inside of that. So it's a pretty cool project. I suggest use very dry wood and make this much thinner. And if you watch his video, it's like 20-25 minutes. It's not long. He does make it a lot thinner than this. and it's 1,000 times prettier than this. But anyway, I was
Al, could
I
you
was,
put Al, could you put a link to his video in chat, please?
his name is Ronald Kane.
Okay,
Ronald Kane.
I'll go look for it then. All right.
Yeah,
problem.
Ronald Kane.
Ronald Kane, the Dutchman.
Yeah, right, exactly, right. All right. Hey, guys, again, thank you so much, Eddie, and everybody have a good night. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Al. All right, let's go to no band-aids. Hey, Brenda. Look at the fingers.
No Band-Aids.
No mandates.
Yeah. Well, I got something to show. Check this out. Can you believe this? I made this Saturday. What do you think?
No, you
Hey,
didn't.
how
Very
about
nice.
Yeah, that's
That looks
nice.
like a Doug Miller project.
Yeah,
Nice, Brenda.
Doug Miller made this and gave it to me Saturday. I went to his demo. And this is the one that fell off the lathe and bent. Yeah, I got it.
that?
Only by the grace of super glue.
I was gonna post it on Facebook and say I made it, and then
Well, you know
see if
what?
anybody noticed that. No, that's what Doug made.
That
Yeah.
is so nice
Funny.
for the both of you.
Yeah,
That's that you both met, and that's
Yep.
so nice.
my number 3, third one of you that I've met in person. I've got a list going.
Yeah, that's another name knocked off, huh?
Yep, now their name knocked off. That's
Well,
all I got.
There's always the option of knocking a whole bunch of names off later on, huh?
Yes, sir.
All righty.
I'll be there.
All righty. Well done. All right. That's a good lead in, or as the kids like to say today, a segue to Mr. Miller.
Segway's a 2-wheel thing that is crazy.
I know, right? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. As kids say,
It's a great way to break an arm or a leg or a hip or
they
a
make
back.
up their own grammatical references. So it's
There you go.
I'm
There you
still
go.
having a hard time of
Yeah, that's
adopting
not a new expression. My parents use that expression, Dane.
Absolutely.
Yeah, mine did.
Yeah. I did have that demo Saturday. We had a great time. Woodcraft there in Dayton had given me 2 hours, and I think I'm sure I turned 3 bowls. Brenda was there. She came in at the end of the first one, and she watched the other 2 being turned. And I had taken that broken goblet that she could have. Yesterday, one of the things that had been given to me as on part of a list was to turn a cat. So I whipped that out as Al was talking about. That's see if I can remember. Hornbeam, hackberry, and the ears are oak. So and then of course I had to give him a couple of eyes and a nose. Those eyes are iridescent. So they'll be a little better. I still got to touch it up just a little more and get some finish on the whole thing. Been kind of waiting on putting some finish till I got the eyes and the nose completed the way I wanted them. But that was just a bit of fun. Sometimes we just need to turn something that's out of the ordinary, and that was a fun thing for me to do. Just a fun thing. Took right out an hour and was talking the whole time. We had a great time. So that's what I have.
Nice.
Right on. Thank you very much. All right, Matt, can you pick up the next set of galleries, folks, please?
I'm muted also. The next person we have up is Ruby.
Okay. One time I was over in France and we were making a whole bunch of spheres, practicing getting them down to being perfect spheres, because once they're perfect spheres, then you can do things like the Chinese balls and that with them. And we kind of had an excess of spheres, so we decided, well, what else can you do with them? Well, then we turned some different shapes. So from the spheres came this tetrahedron. It's got 4 sides. Actually, it's a quadrahedron, I guess.
It's a tetrahedron, Ruby. 4 sides is
Okay.
Tetra.
And then this one that's got the 6 sides.
Hexahedron.
Right.
Mouthful.
So all those just came from a ball like this. And these were
Very
made
good.
out of boxwood.
Yeah.
I'd
nice.
love to see a demo on those. Those are really cool.
They take
Yeah.
too long to do,
No,
unfortunately.
no, Ruby, okay, so you have the sphere. So did you drill holes into it, and then I don't know. I'm just looking at what you're showing. So I see round holes, and
Well,
I'm trying
these holes in here were all turned, and you turn all of those. Like for example, on this one, you turn this. It's like a little cove in here,
right.
and then you turn the sphere 90 degrees, and you do this one until
Right.
you get a hole between the 2 walls.
Okay.
And you do that all the way around. And then once you've kind of got the basic shape, then it was just a case of, okay, I've got this spare wood up here. What can I do with it?
Spare wood.
So you drill some holes in there.
Okay. My goodness.
What kind of wood is that, Ruby?
Boxwood.
Oh, really? Gorgeous. Gorgeous.
It is. It's just
Is-
beautiful.
Well,
Does that
I-
help the
I-
jam chuck when you do that?
Yes. Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
we made our jam chuck smart. But I'm always fascinated with the different polyhedrons and shapes you can come up with.
My God.
Do you make templates to do that?
No.
No?
No, once you've got your sphere, you divide it into half and then quarters, and then using a compass you can lay out, like you lay out 4 corners for this
Right.
one,
Right.
and then you lay out, your corners for making that one,
Oh, yeah.
and that's what you go between.
But on a sphere, you don't have any corners. You tricked us.
You do a sphere, okay? So
Yeah.
like when you've drawn your shape, okay, I guess this pencil doesn't draw on there.
I got one of those too. Yeah.
So once you've drawn your lines with your compass and divided this up,
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah,
okay,
yeah.
then when you put it in the jam chuck and you put your tail center up to that point, okay, it's locked in place. So then you go in and you turn your shape in there. And then you turn it 90 degrees in the jam chuck and you turn the same shape in there.
That shape is spherical, right? It's a sphere.
Yeah, it's like a semi-sphere.
Okay. I've done it in a cube, but I never did it in that's really neat.
So it's kind of fun doing stuff like that.
Looks too complicated for me.
You
Yeah,
have nothing to sphere except
take
the sphere itself.
it take way too long to do for a demo. Anyway,
Well done, Ruby.
that's what you do when you've got a bunch of spheres lying around and trying to figure out what to do with them.
Those are
All
wonderful,
right,
Ruby.
thanks.
Thank you very much for showing them.
Okay.
Who else we got, Matt?
Next up is Jim.
Oh.
Master Tool
Oh,
Master.
no, the reason I asked is I've done it in a sphere, in a square, but you have to turn spheres to make it work. And I wasn't sure. I got to do that anyway.
That's exactly the same idea right there, except that you're doing it with a sphere and you're just doing it on those 6 sides.
Yeah. That's fun. Anyway, okay, I got another. I'm working on this. like, these are pendants, and this is turned on 9 centers. And this one is turned with the lathe going backwards. No, this is forward. This is forward. This is the right hand. But this has the circle on the bottom here to reference it. This is the same thing without a circle on the bottom. So the reference is out here beyond this. And this is the same thing turned on the other side, left-handed.
Yeah, it came out great, Jim.
Hey,
Yeah, it looks great.
Wow.
Just
This-
changing
this-
directions of the lathe.
this is yeah, this is kind of neat. I never turned on the other side of the lathe,
Yeah.
but it's going the other way around. And that lets you start in here. When I did these originally, this was coming around this way, and I was starting out here trying to find this point and end up over here, which is damn near impossible, believe me. Anyway, by starting here and coming out here, you stand a chance, okay? It's still not real easy, but anyway, you stand a chance. Anyway, oh, and then I did one more. This is a box out of cherry, and that has the lid on the top of that.
Wow.
Yeah, I like that. That's pretty.
Very nice.
Well done.
Very nice.
That is
Very-
pretty.
On the inside, I don't know if you can see, there's
Double ring.
double
Yeah, we
rings.
can
on it.
see it. The interlocking rings.
Wow.
Anyway. I got a whole bunch of other ones to do too. Once you do one of these, you get 14 more you could do. But anyway, the nice part of doing these little things is if you screw it up, you only got a piece 2.5 inches in diameter, 3/8 of an inch thick, you know. You've wasted a couple of hours. When you do something 10 inches in diameter, you've wasted a day and a half, and you big piece of wood and who knows what else. And you can also get hurt. When this thing's flying around, it's going like this. When it's 10 inches in diameter, it's going around like this. And all kind of things could happen. So anyway, that's a lot of fun. There's a lot of different designs can go with this. Okay. That's it for me.
Great, that's great. Yeah.
Also,
Thank you, Jim.
I'm having a hard time. One of the hardest parts of this thing is this. You're cutting into, this is all end grain. And you're cutting into end grain, and you can pick up a cut, but it's really hard. There was more sanding that I really wanted to do on this, but you're cutting into end grain in all directions. It's maybe I should make the top side grain or something.
Looks like it'd be a good demo, Jim.
Yeah. Maybe someday. Maybe
your duck's chuck at work.
You got it.
In reverse. I
This
almost
is
never
the-
used reverse on my lathe, so it'd be good to see.
Well, hey, that's another thing. I got a stronghold, and it's got 2 screws, it's 2 tapped holes to put set screws in. And I'll be damned if I could find a set screw could fit either one of them. I finally got mad, and mine now is 5/16 by 16, okay? I re-tapped it and stuck something in there. But I have no idea what that thing is tapped for. 2 nice holes, but did anybody ever use one or have? It doesn't come with set screws.
Yeah, I don't have one.
I'm Nova. I'm the
Try
wrong guy to
stronghold,
ask.
Skip.
I'm Vic Mark and Nova.
Okay. Anyway, it has set screws now. Oh, and you have to remember to take them out when you try to take the chuck off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know one way's saying, right? It's one way or out or no way.
You got it.
Yeah.
Well, when I started wood turning, I made up my mind, I am not buying 16 different kinds of chucks. Some turn this way, some turn that way. Some have
Yeah.
jump go this way, some have, I have all one-way chucks for good or bad, and every job fits every chuck, and I all turn the same way. When you teach, you get in these classes, some of these big schools have 10 lathes and every damn one of them does something different. And you could get hurt doing that, I tell you.
Yeah, you sure can.
Yeah, that's a fact. You're absolutely right about that, Jim.
Yeah.
Jim, I don't remember what those screws were, but I just took the chuck to the auto parts store and they found me some Allen head set screws for those things, but I don't remember what the thing was. He just took it to the bolt bin and started trying bolts in it till he found it and then got the set screws.
I think they're an M6.
I went to Lowe's. I tried all it. I tried the metrics and I tried the America US and daggone, I came home and run a 5/16/16 through there and good to go. Anyway.
There you go. All right. Well done. Thanks, Jim.
Usually what I do is I go find the manual, and if you don't have the manual handy, you can usually find the manual on the company's website, and they'll tell you what the specs are on the screw holes or what they're supposed to be. And that gets you.
I couldn't find that either, man. I looked. Anyway.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you got it fixed.
Yeah. Anyway.
Did you retap all your chucks?
You what?
Did you retap all your chucks?
Just one. I'm not gonna do that much left-handed. Did you ever turn left-handed? That is unreal. You're out on the other side of the chuck or the other side of the axis, and it's coming around the other way, and you try to pick up a cut. Coming into it, I did good. Going out, doggone, I tore up a couple of discs you aren't going to see. Anyway.
Yeah, all your instincts are messed up. I hear you, Jim.
Yeah, big time.
All right, well, next up is John.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I'm almost ashamed to show what I've done, but after all of that. But anyway,
he's a hard act to follow, John.
It's a little bowl about 6 by 7. And it's interesting that I left the bark. I pulled the bark off and it had some nice figure in it on both sides. Yep. I left that on. I think it's got an excellent figure in it. It's quite interesting.
Yes, it is.
It looks good.
And it's
very cool.
It's higher on this side than it is on this side.
What kind of finish did you put on it?
I put tried and true. It's linseed oil and beeswax.
Okay. What kind of bottom you got on it?
Well, not much.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a pretty piece of wood there, John.
It is. It's a beautiful piece of wood.
Sure is.
And I have been doing a few other things, but I haven't got them finished yet. I've got them turned. Spalted wood, primarily.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, beautiful.
Nice.
And obviously, I don't have the bottom finished.
I like that. What kind of wood is that?
Fogwood.
Ah.
It could be maple, but I'm not sure.
Beautiful.
The bark, maybe tell. This is another little piece that I've done here.
Heck yeah.
Just a little bowl.
I like saving that natural edge. That's a great job.
Yeah, I like the natural edge. I do know what this is. This is river birch.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Very nice.
Clean surface. That can be chippy with tear out, can it?
Yes, it has a lot of tear out in it. It's
Yeah.
here's some,
The end grain side.
all the ingrained.
Wow.
Yeah, it looks good though.
But I
Good
just,
job, good job saving the bark.
Yeah.
that was the whole point of this piece.
Very
And
nice.
that's it.
All
Very
right,
nice.
very good. Thanks for sharing. Awesome work. All right, who we got next there, Matt?
We're gonna bounce to Doug because he has a question.
All right, Doug Rowe.
Oh, no,
Professor?
not him.
You're muted. You're muted, Doug. Can't hear you.
We can't hear you.
See your lips moving, but we don't lip read. There we go. You're looking too serious. We got
Hello?
you.
Okay.
We got you.
You guys are clicking on me right when I was getting a phone call, and I was trying to say, I can't talk to you right now. And then, anyway, that was just really weird timing. All right. So I've used OB Shine Juice like a million times. It's always worked great for me. I haven't used it in a really long time, and I pulled it off the shelf. I did not add denatured alcohol to it, and I probably should have since it's been sitting so
Yes.
long.
You should have.
And now
and the shellac is expired.
it is sticky. This went on last night. I buffed it. But I cannot get the stickiness out.
Denatured
what do you
alcohol.
Add
Denatured alcohol on it.
Run some across it or sand it off and do it again.
Run DNA across it. You'll have to do it multiple times.
Yeah.
And then you got to fix your DNA or fix your OB mix.
Yeah. And
What
I
I
know
would-
better.
I
I
would-
should have just added a little bit to it last night because it'd been sitting on the shelf for so long. And I
And
thought,
so one thing that you should do when you have it pre-mixed like that, you should
Yeah.
take a Sharpie and then mark that level when you're done using it. That way, when you go to get it the next time, whatever amount decreased on it, you add your denatured alcohol to fill it back up.
back to that line. That's a good idea.
Okay.
Because it's
And if
the
there's anybody
DNA
that has no
evaporating
idea
out.
what we're talking about with OB Shine Juice, this is well, I call him Nettie Castlin formula, but he calls it OB Shine Juice because a guy named OB taught him. 3 equal parts: boiled linseed oil, denatured alcohol, and shellac. Friction finish, and it works amazing. Unless you forget to add your denatured alcohol. All right, I'll play around with it and see what happens. I just want to see if there is anybody else that had a similar experience and found an easy fix.
Hey, Dane.
So hold on a minute, and I'll take the question. So once you get the stickiness off of it, what I would do is I would come back over it with your final finish, because essentially the Shine Juice is a sanding sealer process.
Yeah.
So if you were to go back over that with CA, it would shine like a diamond in a goat's ass.
Yeah. Yeah, CA. I've also put lacquer on it. I've put CA on it. Both work really well.
Yep. So yeah, any finish over an OB Shine Juice, provided you already got the wood finished correctly and sanded, then you do the Shine Juice on there nice and correctly. Then you do your final finish. It just really brings it out.
Yeah.
So, all right. Somebody had a question for me?
That's me, Dane. So it sounded like you started to say that maybe it was that shellac had maybe like expired time-wise also.
Yes.
Yeah, and it seems like I've had experience in the past with Shine Juice that if it sat there for more than about 6 months, it was time to just dump it and go with a new one, especially out of a rubber container like that, and not glass.
Yeah,
Correct.
which is exactly what it is. Harbor Freight special.
So Doug, I pour mine into a small mason jar if I know I'm not going to use it for a while.
Yeah.
I put a sealed lid on it, and then the alcohol does not evaporate.
Okay, that's good to know.
And turn the jar, when you store the jar, turn it upside down, lid down.
Correct.
Yes. Good idea. Yes. and then mark your level upside down.
Okay.
But store it upside down.
Just make sure you got the lid on tight, that's all.
All right.
Or if it
Is,
leaks a
Mark
little, it'll
Soleil
seal itself
tonight?
up.
Is Mark Soleil on tonight?
I did not see Mark come in yet.
He did
Yeah,
come
he's
in.
on
I saw him.
somewhere.
I saw him come in, but I'm not sure if he's still here. But yep.
That's
Yeah,
from
I'm here.
There he is.
Bob gave me when I went and visited him in Georgia.
There you go, Doug.
Outstanding.
Box elder with flame.
Speaking
Nice.
of which, Mark, I got my box of wood the other day. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
I got my Mark Soleil box today. Thank you.
Those are very nice.
Yeah, if anybody wants wood, just call me up. We'll put it in a box and ship it to you.
Needs a signature on the bottom, Doug.
We'll get there. Well, cool. That's all I got. Thanks for helping me with my issue and letting me show off my Mark Soleil wood.
Hell yeah. Glad we
Thanks,
could
Doug.
help out.
Next up is Paul. You're up, Paul.
Paul.
Evening all.
Hey,
How's it
Paul.
going? Morning. Morning in my case, but evening in your case. Yeah, I've got a couple of bowls. Latest thing I've been working on. These are made out of English yew. Well, with a natural edge. The bark was coming off, so I took the bark off, but
Wow.
that's the natural edge minus the bark. And yeah, I've been making a few of these. There's another one here. Came from the same tree.
Oh, nice.
But this one was
Very nice.
this one was a bit more of a challenge. There's a bit missing there. That piece
Like a
dropped out
mask.
as I was turning it, and I picked it up and put it back in and glued it back in, and then turned it some more, and it came out again. And the second time
So
it
it's-
came out, I couldn't find it. So rather than
So it's-
leave a sort of a rough edge on that, I got a Dremel on it with a burr and just shaped the hole to make it look a little bit more natural. And after I'd done that, I found the other piece.
It's okay. It's now a
Just the way it
feature.
would go.
and
I knew it was going to
It's
happen.
a feature and the price is higher.
Yeah, definitely.
Paul, hold
Yeah,
that
look
thing in
good.
front of you.
Pardon?
Hold that bowl in front of you. And kind of look through the holes.
Very nice.
There's a bark inclusion over here and a hole over this side.
Okay, flip it over. There you go. Look at that. Looks like a pig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a mask.
It's like
Hold
two
on,
eyes
mate.
and a pig. Yeah.
Find an animal. in
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
Does a bit,
right.
doesn't it? Yeah.
I like it.
Cool.
Yeah. I did one the other day and it had a face in it. I thought, yeah, that was it. Yeah, I'll get this one. Was that it? But there was one with a bit sticking up like that. I don't know if that was it, but it looked very much like a face or something. But that wasn't the
Like a
one.
reindeer.
The dog.
I think it's on another ball.
Cartoon
dingo.
fox.
Down in the
Cartoon
works.
fox.
Yeah, and I've also this week, my wife and I were having an open studios. It's on for the week, and I've done a quick video walk round. Do you want to see it? It's got all our sort of work on exhibition, and
Yeah, sure.
we
Yeah,
turned the
I'll
downstairs of
watch
our
it.
house
I'll
into a
watch it.
gallery,
Go ahead.
basically.
Yeah,
So
go ahead and do a screen share.
just let me do a screen share on that, and I'll
Yep.
show you.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Paul.
Okay, that should be it. I did it on the phone, so it's a vertical video rather than a horizontal one. But just a quick walk through. My wife does enameling, by the way. These are all pictures that are enamel on copper.
Beautiful.
Work.
Really gorgeous.
She likes trees too.
All that stuff is at the front of the building, so all the people are going to be sold out of, have all their money taken by the time they get to his stuff.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, well done, Paul. Nice
One of my
turnings.
things.
I like your pears.
Thank you.
Those candle holders are beautiful.
Yep. Classic forms.
the candle holders, when I make a clock, I call the center out for the clock, and that's what I make the candle holders out of.
Oh, well done. Yeah.
So I just sort of take it out with a parting tool sort of thing, and put those to one side, and then have a sort of blitz and turn them all into little candle holders.
Great idea.
I think that's a lot. That's it.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Thanks
I
for
just put that
sharing.
on my Facebook page. So if you follow my page on Facebook, you'll see that anyway.
Really nice.
Thank you, Paul.
All right. Very good.
Yeah, we've got the
All
gallery
right.
there until next Sunday, so a few days to go yet.
Sweet. All right. So let's do safety next. And then we're going to go to our demonstration for the evening we have lined up with Brent Swotko. So let's get to Safety Sue and see what our safety moment is going to be. Hey, Sue.
Hi, guys. I'm
Hi.
still in sunny New York State.
Yeah.
Left Florida to get hit with a tropical depression. But anyways, I hope our friends in Texas and everybody else that was affected by Burl are safe and unharmed. Safety moment this week is going to be personal safety. And how many shops have a nice first aid kit? You got Band-Aids? You have those butterfly strips, or do you make your own? Have you got tourniquets? Have you got some alcohol or some other way to clean wounds? Have you got something to stop bleeding? All of you got to ask yourself questions on what are you going to do. Have you got a phone nearby where you can do 911, or do you wear an Apple Watch where all you have to do is hit a number and it goes into 911? So, folks, I get cut a lot, and I don't even have to be in the shop. So, what I'm saying is that be safe. Have your first aid kit available and where it's convenient for you to reach. Don't put it in the house where it's so far away from the shop that by the time you get into the house, you got a trail of whatever's leaking out of you. So please have one in your shops, and things do go bad after a while. Don't forget to update your safety box, and just be careful this week. Think about how many weeks that you can be without using your safety equipment, meaning your Band-Aids or whatever, your first aid kit. And don't forget that after about 6 months, go in there and get new stuff and dispose of the old stuff. So be careful, my friends. I'd love to see you next week. And I'm still going to be in New York next week, but hopefully maybe they'll have some sun. So take care. I'd love to see you next week. Stay safe.
Hey, Sue, I want to add something to the tourniquets for you.
Okay.
So please, please, please have tourniquets in your shop. I 100% agree. We place the tourniquets next to the machines that are going to cut things off or cut them so deeply that we need to stop the bleeding. So near the bandsaw, near the chop saw, near the table saw, you need to rehearse with that tourniquet. If you don't know how to put the tourniquet on, it's not going to do you any good. You can bleed out really, really fast. So I'm a firm believer in having the tourniquets placed in the shop, opened up to your largest limb, which is generally going to be your thigh. Okay, even though it's probably going on your arm based on what we all do. But if it'll fit on your arm, you'll be able to slip it onto your thigh. Then you'll slip it onto your thigh or your arm real fast, cinch that bad boy up, get it twisted, then dial the 3 digits on your phone. You gotta stop that bleeding fast, because we lose just enough blood, you're losing consciousness. By the time somebody finds you, it's too late. The other thing that we've added to my shop, if you look way back there under the wrong way sign, is a Ring camera. So now my wife can just check on me every so often, just in case something did come off the lathe, hit me in the head, and I'm laying out here unconscious. I don't gotta wait too long for her to go, hey, I haven't heard from the old fat guy in a while. So thank you, Sue, for bringing up tourniquets, though. They're phenomenal. It's a great tool. They work great if you know how to use them.
Thanks. Thank you, Doug. That's wonderful. I'm glad you brought that up. Also, for those people that are single and you don't have the opportunity for a wife to watch you or a husband to watch you, if you do have some smartwatches, some of them have fall detection and will automatically call the 911. So be proactive. Think of your personal safety, because you need it to be safe for you and safe for your family. They don't want to lose you.
There's my tourniquet right there. Let me see. Oh, there. Right
Got
next to the saw that I'm likely to cut myself on.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Good job.
Very good.
The lathe
Thank you,
can cut
Doug,
you
for
pretty
that.
bad too. I have
sorry?
one
Yep.
next to my lathe.
Yeah.
I have one next to
Good
my
idea.
lathe, my top saw, my band saw, my table saw. Because I mean, believe it or not, you get careless, that rim of that bowl or box or something, a lathe can cut you just as deep.
Oh yeah.
And it's more of a rip than a nice cut, usually.
Yeah.
Oh,
right.
it is.
Speaking from experience,
Yep.
Yeah, ask me how I know.
right?
Yeah.
Got that T-shirt. Got that T-shirt.
Thank you, Sue and Doug.
All right. So with that, let's go to Mr. Brent here for our demonstration. He has a recorded presentation that he is going to be doing. All questions, comments, we want to hold them to the end of the presentation. That way Brent can answer them as they come through. I will be keeping track of the questions as they come through and making sure everything gets answered, you know, for those that don't want to come on the live mic and ask. So Brent, welcome, and thank you very much for this.
Okay, well, thanks, Dave. Yeah, I recorded this because I didn't think I could do this live without coming off as a complete idiot. Unfortunately, the video, I come off as a complete idiot anyway. So I kind of got that pretty much covered. But this presentation is about lasers and cameras in wood turning. However, it's not really about using lasers and cameras. It's about kind of developing your own laser and camera equipment and or modifying any laser and camera equipment you may already have. So let's see if I can figure out how to do this whole share screen thing here.
Yeah, got sound now.
And we got sound.
Okay.
Thank you, Paul.
So we're going to be talking about hollowing the cameras and lasers. However, don't really intend on talking about the nuts and bolts of the process. Rather, we're going to focus on making your own equipment or adapting and improving equipment that you may already have. And most of us probably know that vibration in wood turning is pretty much inevitable. So let's probably get more vibration than others. And there's a common expression in the wood turning community that life's too short to turn crappy wood. I kind of disagree with that. I think crappy wood makes for interesting projects. Plus, when you live in Wyoming, crappy wood's pretty much what you got. But crappy wood can be out of balance considerably. It could be full of knots and cracked or who knows what. But even beautiful wood, like some really nice burls, can be considerably out of balance. And as all this stuff spins on the lathe, it can lead to a lot of vibration. This isn't news to any of us, we all know it. Once you have a vessel nicely finished on the outside and you start hollowing it, you relieve internal stresses within the wood, and it will go slightly out of round. That causes more vibration. Also, most people like turning hollow forms out of wet wood. I personally prefer dry wood, but that's just me. As the wood dries while you're working it, it will go slightly out of round. I'd have people argue with me that it doesn't, but I'm personally convinced that it does. If you use a steady rest, you will notice that you need to regularly adjust it to make consistent contact with the vessel. That's because the wood is moving. It's also why it's advisable to start at the opening of a vessel and finish it quickly to final thickness. That's because if you return to it later, the wood won't be in the same place. All of this stuff causes vibration. Now, the reason I'm discussing all of this is the vibration translates through the tooling back up into the laser. Now, as the laser vibrates, it creates what I call laser fuzzies. Now, this laser holding mechanism acts like a great big tuning fork that has the effect of amplifying vibrations. And the bigger it is, the greater the amplification. I haven't seen this to be a problem on projects 6 or 8 inches deep, but when you're 16 or 18 inches deep on crappier out around wood, you're really only guessing where the edge of the vessel is when the fuzzies are so wide. So most everything we've done here and what we're going to be talking about is to make the laser rig stiffer, more rigid, and less susceptible to the tuning fork effect. One more thing. I almost always use a steady rest. It gives me peace of mind by reducing the likelihood of a mortise or tenon failure at the chuck. But I've got a very unique steady rest that isn't very common, so maybe it's more awkward for other people. Some folks don't like them, but I love them, so you'll have to figure that out for yourself. But it's kind of a double-edged sword. It supports the work and helps keep it centered, but it also translates vibration directly down into the bed of the lathe. I just accept that. So let's get down to the parts on this thing. The components of the laser system come down to 4 basic pieces. So there's the vertical bar, the horizontal bar, the laser attachment point, and of course the laser with the laser adjustment point. So let's start at the bottom. Now, this is the mount I made to attach my captain bar system right here. Obviously it's welded and bolted onto the captain bar system right here. Okay. Now all this stuff will be easier if you have welding capabilities. If you don't have welding capabilities, I strongly encourage you to look into it. Welding opens up a whole wide world of opportunities for you, and it isn't really all that hard to learn. Small wire-free welders aren't all that expensive anymore. YouTube is full of great training that you can to get you up to speed with on it. Steel isn't really any more expensive than wood if you know where to shop, and if you keep your eye out, you can always scrounge scrap metal all over the place. If you don't want to weld, you can make some components from wood and other parts from metal that don't need welding. We're going to look into that a little bit later. This piece is mostly made from 16 gauge square steel tubing right here. Square tube is much preferred for this sort of stuff because when you clamp into it with bolts like I am here from the corner and onto the round bar in the middle, it makes a 3-point contact on the inside where we use the round tube. Where if we use the round tube, it would only have a 2-point contact, which would be a much less rigid contact. Height adjustment of this laser is made by raising and lowering the vertical bar in the lower mount and tightening the bolts in the lower mount. This particular one is kind of a poor design and needs rebuilt. I don't really like it very much. Okay, over here I've got an articulated hollowing system that came with a mount for a laser camera system. I just had to fabricate a vertical bar that fit the mount. So while we're here, we may as well move on to the vertical bar. It's nothing more than a 5/8 inch hot rolled round bar. I didn't need it to be anything special, so I didn't spend the extra money for cold rolled. I just painted it red to keep it from rusting. Okay, back over here on the captive bar, the vertical bar on this one is just Schedule 40 steel pipe. It's pretty heavy duty and rigid. It's just something I had laying around. So let's look at this horizontal bar. This is 1/8 inch thick steel pipe, 30 inches long. This whole laser system was one I initially bought from one of the articulated hollowing system makers. I got it because I liked their plug-in laser and I adapted their system to work on this captured bar system. Now I'm sure that their system worked wonderfully on their hollowing system because it really was a well-designed system, but my adaptations far exceeded what it was designed for. So it really didn't work well here. It had thin-walled aluminum tube for both the horizontal and vertical bars. So except when it was adjusted for small vessels, it vibrated something fierce. So I quickly replaced the aluminum with this steel, but I didn't want to go with solid steel because when doing deep hollowing, this thing extended pretty far out and the weight would create quite a big moment of inertia problem. So this pipe here was a compromise. Over here on the articulated system, the horizontal bar is just 1/2 inch steel round bar right here. This piece is galvanized. I'm not sure why because I'm not quite sure where I got it. I typically build this stuff out of whatever I find laying around. This piece isn't particularly all that long because I don't usually do all that deep a hollowing on this articulated system. Now on the crossbar adjustments. Here the vertical adjustment is 1-inch square tube. I've got 3 adjustment screws, 1, 2, 3, for a really solid connection. The horizontal adjustment is 7/8 inch Schedule 40 pipe. Square tube would probably be better. I'm not sure why I used pipe when I made it. But you'll notice I've got 3 thumb screws on it coming in 2 different directions. So it does have 3-point contact, but probably not as good as it would if it was square tube. Okay, here's the horizontal adjustment system on the captive system I have. It's welded on the vertical bar here. I don't really like this method as well as it reduces versatility. That probably is a little more rigid than the adjustable version I have on the other side. Now on to the laser and mount. This system is off the one I bought from the articulated hollowing system maker. It is a good system for the most part. I bought this because of the laser. It's the only one I've ever seen with a plug-in laser. I don't like having to rely on batteries, especially the little button batteries. They're expensive and I tend to forget to turn the laser off. I've searched the internet for plug-in lasers and I've found them, but they all tend to have all sorts of goofy specifications that I can't interpret. I know there's some of you folks out there who are much more tech savvy than me that could probably figure out what they mean, but it was outside of my wheelhouse. So I bought this off of someone who already figured it out. The laser holding mechanism is just a hole with a set screw on the side here to hold it in place. Adjustment is a slot and a screw handle. Right here. It takes a lot of messing around with to get just right, especially when the bar is extended out for deep hollowing. The horizontal bar flexes enough to make precise placement of the laser difficult. A few thousandths of an inch of flex will magnify the laser point down at the tool rest. So as you tighten the screw, things move and your point won't be where you want it. It ends up being a lot of trial and error. This also brings up the point that it is important not to have your laser higher than is necessary, because the farther away from the vessel you are, the more error is exaggerated and the greater the vibration fuzzies will be. Over here, I more or less copied part of the adjustment capabilities from the other system, except it's made from 1-inch flat bar steel welded to the horizontal bar. The laser is considerably different. I was down at one of the other articulated hollowing system makers' shop, and I got to work with a laser that he sells that adjusts by turning a couple of set screws. It worked beautifully, but the price is a little bit higher than I was willing to spend. It may very well be worth the price because it's more than likely a quality piece of equipment, but my instinct was always to look for options before spending the big bucks. So I came back and I found this laser. It is a laser gun sight with a mount made to fit a shotgun. It has fine adjustment screws with little set screws on the mount. The mount was very simple to make by just welding a vertical pipe on a slotted piece of flat bar. It only cost about $16, and it's got a nice little on and off switch on the back. Seems like a small detail, but oftentimes people are using laser pointers with momentary switches that they have to hold on by rolling an O-ring over the switch. I'm not sure of the longevity of this thing. It isn't really adjusting as well as it used to. The laser sticks a little bit, and sometimes you have to tap it to get it to move, which makes sense since this thing isn't really designed to be adjusted with the frequency and extreme distance that I sometimes do. But for $16, I suppose it's not too big a deal to replace. There may be the possibility that I can get it apart to lubricate it or to clean it, but I haven't looked into that yet.
And now for something completely different.
So what do we have in common as far as materials that we all work with?
Anyone? Anyone? Because they're made of wood. Good.
So in an effort to show that all these pieces don't have to be welded, I built this piece here out of scrap wood that I had laying around. I had filmed this thing and I tried to make it funny, but then I determined that it wasn't near as hilarious as I thought it was, and so I decided not to bore you with that. So I just kind of thought I'd just show this to you. You can build stuff out of parts and pieces of it out of wood, and just parts of it use as other pieces. Like, so this is just steel bar, this is just steel bar, this is welded, but it wouldn't have to be welded. So there's the other side of it. So I do have inserts, just threaded inserts to hold these thumb screws in here. That's just standard ordinary woodworking that we all do. So I think everybody that's watching this should be able to handle making this piece. So you don't have to weld to make this stuff. Okay, on to cameras. For anyone unfamiliar with the process, for the most part, it's largely swapping out the laser for a miniature camera and monitor. Once you get it set up and the bugs worked out, it works fairly well. Vibration doesn't seem to be near as big an issue as it is with the laser, because it seems like your eye is able to compensate for it somehow. I struggled with some of the techie aspects of these projects. Maybe I'd have better success if I had access to a 12-year-old kid to help me. There are some potential pitfalls of these things that can get you into trouble if you're not aware of them. Mounting the cameras uses the same mounts as the lasers, so I won't discuss that further. What we do is set the camera above our cutter head and trace the outline of it on the monitor with a dry erase marker after you've put some sort of transparency sheet on the monitor. That way, when your cutter goes into the vessel, you can see where the cutter is within the vessel. You can also draw a buffer around the cutter equal to the distance that you want the wall thickness of your vessel. That will tell you where to stop cutting. Easy peasy. This is my first camera attempt. It's a lipstick cam or a bullet camera or whatever you want to call it. I bought it off of Amazon. I liked the shape and design. I thought it would be easy to work with. I wanted to connect it to a computer monitor. Everything I read said it should be able to do that with some sort of converter or by running it through a DVD player or VCR. I bought several different converters. I tried a DVD player, tried a VCR, different types of monitors, different TVs, a CCTV monitor. Never could get the thing to work. I thought it might be bad camera, so I got a replacement from Amazon. Same story. Finally, I gave up on the idea of the lipstick camera. I don't know what I could do wrong, but so much for that. Next, I went on to the simplest solution. I just mounted a webcam connected to my computer, then attached an extra monitor to my computer mounted above my lathe. Actually, this worked pretty good. Having the computer right next to the lathe is less than ideal. I'd usually keep something over the computer to keep the dust and shavings off of it. The focal length of the webcam isn't great. I've seen webcams with zoom lenses, but they're pretty pricey. My webcam had a 1/4x20 hole in the base. I suppose that's so it could screw onto a tripod. So it screwed onto the laser mount pretty easily. I don't know if this is common. If not, you'd have to figure out some sort of mount. To install the monitor, I got one of those articulated spring-loaded computer monitor mounts. I got a double-armed one thinking I could use one arm to make a shelf to hold the computer. That didn't work out as well as I'd hoped. I had to turn one arm upside down and add an additional support to it. I like the monitor holder. The price has gone up a bit like everything else. Currently, the double arm one goes for about $80 bucks. 70 bucks. I probably ran this system a better part of a year. I got a little tired of dragging the computer out the shop all the time, so I started looking for better options. So I got this little CCTV camera. It currently costs about 17 bucks on Amazon. Everything I read said that it required a special CCTV monitor, so I bought this monitor to go with it. I never figured out what was so special about a CCTV monitor. While shopping for them, I found out that most are really small, like 7 to 10 inches, which I would have a hard time seeing. This one I got is 15 inch, which is currently $138 on Amazon. The camera came with two lenses, 2.5 millimeter and 3.6 millimeter. But there were a variety of options available, and I had no idea what to get, so I ended up just taking a shot in the dark. Here are some shots of the difference between the two lenses. They're really close to the same, but the 3.6 millimeter is slightly more zoomed in, so that's the one I prefer. Ultimately, I was very pleasantly surprised how well and easily this camera worked. The mount was just a simple stove bolt using the laser stuff and components that came with the laser. There is one big problem with these things, however, and I've never heard anyone else ever address this issue. One day I was happily hauling along on a vessel using my webcam. I was nearing the bottom, looking for about a 3/8 inch thick bottom, and I started hearing that pitch change that makes the hair on the back of your neck raise. I shut everything down and made some measurements. Turned out I was 1 or 2 cuts from going through the bottom, but my camera said I had well over 3/8 of an inch to go. I got the vessel off of the lathe and saved it, but started pondering what the problem could have been. Then I remembered back to my aerial photography classes back in college, and I started thinking about the principles of oblique photography and parallax, and the issue became obvious. My camera was out of level. In aerial photography, you can take an oblique image, essentially one at an angle, or a nadir image, one looking straight down. Oblique will always give you a distorted perspective that has to be compensated for. A nadir image is the only accurate way to take an aerial image. What we are doing with these cameras is essentially micro-miniature aerial photography. So unless we set our cameras up for a nadir image, there is going to be error. Is the error enough to make a difference? Let's find out. I made a two-dimensional model of a vessel and mounted it in a chuck. I drew a 3/8" profile around the edge. Then I leveled the camera as best as I was able, and I drew the profile of the cutter and a 3/8" buffer around on the monitor with a black dry erase marker and checked it against the 3/8" profile on the model. It was pretty much dead on. Then I tilted the camera slightly forward and drew a new buffer around the cutter. The blue line is the out of level buffer. The black line is the level buffer line. So if the camera was out of level, you definitely wouldn't have the thickness you thought you did. And it certainly could cause you to go through the bottom of your vessel. I did a non-comprehensive search of the internet and was unable to find any other references to this issue anywhere. The closest I came were suggestions that you try to get your cutter to show in the center of the monitor. So how do we address this? Well, it isn't real easy, but it isn't all that difficult either. It just takes a few minutes. The first thing you've got to do is get your camera lens centered over the cutter. I use a plumb bob hanging over the top of the camera, and I figure out how far it is back to the center of the camera lens. And I adjust the plumb bob that distance in front of the cutter. Then I level the camera in two directions, front and back and side to side. You should be good to go. Just make sure you got everything tight. Okay, since I filmed that first bit of film regarding the leveling the camera mount with the plumb bob and whatnot, I got myself a 3D printer, and I got the bright idea to make this different camera mount with built-in levels on it here, and a way to level the camera with and hold the plumb bob and hold the entire thing in one fell swoop. And this is it. It makes the whole entire process a whole lot easier. The levels, this is called RV levels in it here to set it up here. The plumb bob hangs directly off of the front of this, and all I got to do is set the plumb bob 1.5 inches directly in front of off the front of the mount here. That'll take it. So that's 1.5 inches from the center of the lens of the camera there. Makes the whole thing a whole bunch easier. So it's kind of slick. So. So that's pretty much what I've got. I'll just close with some sweet, sweet hollowing video. And if there are any questions, we'll cover them after we shut this down. And as Safety Sue would say, don't forget your PPE.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.
That was good.
It was good, Brent. Thanks.
Nice job.
Thank you
Thank you,
very
Brent.
much. Yes.
All right. Sorry. I get a little silly sometimes, but
Well, the silly was there, but the information was there also.
no.
That was really good. Thank you.
That was pretty enjoyable.
Which
That was pretty enjoyable.
which one do you like best, the laser or the video?
The laser is so darn simple, but I can get a whole bunch more accurate with the camera. It just depends on what you're doing. If you're looking for if I'm looking for a thin wall on good wood, the camera is a lot better. On really lousy wood, I in a thicker wall, probably the laser and such. But I can set that laser up so darn fast. The camera takes some time to get set up and such. So they're both really handy and such. And I've kind of gotten used to the camera too. And I primarily use the camera on my Powermatic. And I'll be honest with you, I like my Laguna lathe a heck of a lot better than I do my Powermatic. So I use it a whole lot better. So I use the laser more than I do the camera anyways. So
Thanks. Okay, thanks. But it's really good. I like to see the setups. I made both of them, kind of like what you did, and enjoyed doing it. But after I did the laser first, and then I thought I had to have the camera, and so I did it. But I like the laser. Just seems like it's pretty easy.
it really is. It's so simple and straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be much cheaper too.
Yeah, much cheaper. Yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
sure.
'Cause
Brett.
you gotta have a lot of the same equipment regardless. So
If you
Brett,
have,
can I
if go ahead, Mark.
Okay. Number one, you're talking about the tuning fork effect of your laser bar extending out. All you've got to do is put a little triangle brace from the vertical to the horizontal, and that triangle brace will eliminate almost all of that tuning fork effect. Number two, all right, number two, when I have deep hollowing, I never hollow from the tool rest. I only hollow, I have a tool rest that extends 13 inches down into the hollow form. Therefore, my hollowing device, right, to the tip, is no more than an inch away from the surface that I'm working on. So that eliminates, once you get 3 or 4 inches past your tool rest, you're into tremendous vibration unless you have a square bar. So I go down inside. I've showed this on Worldwide Woodturners before.
Mm-hmm.
And that eliminates, once you eliminate that vibration, that laser's almost rock steady. And it's much safer. You eliminate the flex out of the hollowing system, and you eliminate the flex with a triangle brace on that laser bar that's sticking out there. Do you want me to show you briefly? I can go out to my, I don't want to interfere with your video. I can do it another time, but
that triangle, that's a neat idea. I'd never occurred to me as such. I like that. And as far as the tool rest thing, I've often tried to figure out a way that I could get a tool rest down into the vessel a long ways. And frequently I'm working on a very small opening. I am working with a 1 1/4 inch boring bar and such. And usually sometimes with just like a 2-inch opening on that thing, don't have a lot of room to get much into that hole and such. So
Okay, I'll go ahead and answer some other questions. I'm gonna go out to my shop and I'll show you the 2 mechanisms that I use to eliminate, because when I have students in here, my mechanisms eliminate going below the center and it eliminates the torque.
I'd like to see that. Yeah.
Yeah, let me answer some other questions. I'll go out to the shop.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'd like to see that.
No,
Hey, Brent,
go ahead, Matt. I'm sorry.
It's okay. The wooden connection, you made a wooden connection between the upright bar and the laser bar. How did that handle the vibration?
I didn't. I just made it, just threw it together just for illustration purposes. I've never tried the damn thing. So
But
okay. All right.
it's just got to go into the firewood pile. So
yeah, but a triangle brace is used in construction to eliminate any wobbling of square connections.
Yeah,
Yep, I put some links in the chat to where you can buy a laser module and a power supply for it. Like everybody else has said, it's very easy to hook it up. You just got to make sure you get the right polarity, because it's DC coming out, and the laser, if it's hooked up one way, it'll work. If the wires are switched, it won't. So
Anyway, I'm slowly making my way out to the shop. Give me time. Go ahead and take.
Yep, go ahead, Al.
I'm sorry. What I was thinking about when he said earlier, how he gets the vibration off of the cutter itself. You at the top of your T where you have the 3 screws. If that would be longer, I think that would take away a lot of your vibration.
well, actually, the point of all of that is there's a lot of these systems that I've seen, people are just making a little Delron type of connection type. They just got a very small little thing. So I'm making this big with a lot of solid connections. I don't think a whole lot more is going to make a whole lot more difference.
No, I'm talking about the length. I mean, it looks like you were about what, 5 inches or 6 inches right there.
On the wooden one?
No. I'm talking about the metal one. So I'm sorry. I'm talking about the metal one at the top of your T, where you have your
that welded
3 screws, and you said there and then that you feel that you get a lot of vibration. I think if that was a longer tube, and I mean, if you're talking about diagonal now, I think that would be like, that'll tune it right in.
Well, I don't think the
I think it
vibration.
needs to be longer because it would act just like a tool rest.
Yeah, I don't think the vibration is coming from that. I think the connection there is as solid as that can get. Mark might have a solution for there with his triangle brace on that possibly, but
I think the length might help you if you make it longer.
Okay, hang on, I'm almost there.
But I liked your setup there, Brent. I think it looked really good.
Well, thank you. I cobbled together a lot of crap. Just
once we get through, I'd like to see your steady rest too.
Oh, okay. I did I showed that on one of those tips and tricks things we did a while back and such. Oh,
you remember the date?
When did we do that, Dane?
I could go back and look at that one. I think we've done a couple of tips and tricks, so it'd be, unless Dane remembers it.
It was the first meeting in June.
Okay. Is that the one his is in, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Be there in a minute.
I mean, I made a steady rest and I made a couple of them, kind of like what you have, but I didn't extend the wheels out in front of the, yeah, I can see doing that just to get more room around your access around your vessel.
It's a very complicated process, and I'm still kind
Yeah.
of tweaking. I'm still tweaking the design on that. So it's
What's the laser that you guys recommend?
That one that Matt had looked pretty good. I don't know. But Brent might have a better solution.
that one. Let's see if I can pull up that shotgun shot sight one. It was really kind of slick. It worked really well, except for I really like it, but it's just kind of it's the little set screw adjustments kind of starting to stick a little bit. But I'll once I finish talking here and answering questions, I'll pull up the link on that, put it in the chat.
Yeah, when things started moving on mine a little bit, I just duct taped it all together.
Yeah. But it's got those little set screws in there that allow you just to turn an Allen wrench to adjust the thing and such. And
Yeah.
that's, I saw that on basically I was trying to avoid saying brand names and such, but I saw that down in Trent Bosch's stuff. He's got a really nice laser on there that has that sort of thing. And it was really slick. And so I was looking for just a cheap, easy option that did the same thing. And I found that in that gun sight thing and such. So
Okay, I'm almost there, guys. Yeah. Okay. For small hollowing, I never use a round hollowing tool. I only use flat hollowing tools. That's because you can put the tip inside the left edge. And
change your camera, Mark?
Yeah, I will, just a minute. I'm trying to get adjusted. Okay. Let me see what I've got here. Let me change my camera around so I can. Here we go. Can anybody see my hand?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So what we have for small hollowing, we just make a figure 6 rest. My hollow, and I can hollow by hand, right? And we make it figure 6. I got to try to adjust this thing. Then it can go down inside the vessel, right? And I can get that turned around, and my hollowing tool is here. It's inside the rest. It's not off the tool rest, because if I go down in here, I get vibration. So I can keep adjusting this around and keep it an inch away from the wall at all times. Can you see that?
yeah, I like that, Mark. I'm gonna have to make one of those.
And that's real simple. All you do is just take a figure 6, right? And you see it'll go in all the way down. You put it in the hole, and you're very close to where you think. and you put a little triangle gusset right there to eliminate vibration.
Yeah.
Now, for big hollowing, just a second, I gotta go get it. Just a second. For deep hollowing, then what I do is can you see what I've got?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay, we have a right angle, we have a triangle gusset, and then it goes down, this one goes down 13 inches, and that takes a right, a 90-degree turn to the right. So when this is in the tool, I gotta take this out. You get the idea, right? So now, when I have my hollowing system on, right, then down inside, instead of instead of be back here off my tool rest, that's going to give me 7, 8. You know, if I go down, I do these 30-inch bata drums and stuff like that. Well, the vibration is way too much for safety for me to handle. So by sticking this down inside and then taking my hollowing rig and resting it on here, I'm that far away from where I'm actually hollowing. And this eliminates all that tool vibration, because every time that hollowing tool goes down, it comes back up the equal distance. It causes a sine wave. So this thing cost me $10 to go down and have a 1-inch bar bent, then bent this way, and weld a gusset in it. So you can get way down, and then your hollowing tool is setting up on top of here. See? You're all the way down inside.
But you're hollowing in reverse though when you're doing that, right? Since you got it to the right.
No, I'm hollowing and forward.
Okay.
Because this is coming around. It's coming around this way. See that? It's down inside the hole, and it's coming around this way. That's not reverse. Anyway, that's what I do to make it safe for all my students.
Yeah, this is just a tool rest.
Just a tool rest. But you're sitting back here, you've got this Trent. I saw a Trent Bosch thing, which is a good system. But if you get down into do deep hollowing, then you're way out of your league, because that bar is a 3/4 bar. And guess what? It is way, you got it 10 inches from the tool rest. Well, you can't control safely that vibration and making the waves.
I was just going to ask you that. How long is that bar to the cutter?
I've got one 30 inches long.
Okay.
Because
how thick of the metal? How thick of the metal is that?
The big one is a 1-inch square bar, because a square bar has probably 50% less vibration than a round bar. So if you want to do something safe, a square bar, if you're doing big stuff, is really safe. Here it is right here.
So what kind of cutter do you use?
Well, I use mostly just the John Jordan, the little 3/16 tips on the end of the cutters. They work just fine for me. Now, if I go to this one here, I just went and picked up. Let's lay it up here.
So you said that that bar is a 1-inch bar?
Yeah, see, now here's my, wait a minute, I gotta turn it around. Okay, can you see that bar?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we can say it.
Okay, so I've got the 3/4 thing to go into my hollowing system, right? And then I've got this square bar, and then I can put virtually any type of connection in here. So that does not vibrate at all when I'm doing those big jobs, right? This for anything you're going to do for like regular urns or something like that, you're down in the bottom of that 12-inch urn. And you're right next to the wall where you're cutting. You've got all that, you're not creating that vibration.
No, not with 1 inch. Not with 1 inch. Not at all.
Well, this has got a gusset too to help.
And oh, there you go. Right. And a gusset, right. Oh no, you're not feeling any pain right there at all.
So when I've got my hollowing system down in there, I can focus on what I'm doing with my laser coming down versus worrying about my safety, right? With all that vibration. And again, for all your smaller stuff, right? I don't allow people to use a round hollowing tool. It always has to be flat. If you have a flat tool, let me see if I can find one here. There we go. There's a flat tool.
Right.
As long as this tip is inside the left wall, there is no torque. You don't have to worry about holding it from tipping because it automatically stays level. And that's all you need. You just put it on that. Well, I can't hold this damn camera. Let me see if shit. Maybe I can put it right here. Here, I'll put it right here. Okay, and I'll just work it backward. So if you imagine this, see, when it's on there, then number one, it can never go below the center of rotation for safety. And number two, it eliminates all the left-sided twist. So I can put a 6-year-old on here and he can work this hollowing thing because I've eliminated all the danger points. There's no vibration. It's on the, it can't go below center. He doesn't have to fight it. That just sticks in there and you can go anywhere you want. But anyway, these little cameras and all these things are excellent, in my opinion. Your demonstration was fabulous. The only 2 points that I have is number one, put a triangle gusset, even if you duct tape a wooden dowel between the top of your laser thing and the vertical laser thing. And that will eliminate a lot of that tuning fork vibration. And number two,
yeah, I can come up with something there easily. It'll have to be adjustable because the horizontal bar has to move. So
right. Yeah, that's how mine's set up. So it moves laterally.
Where it moves in and out?
Yeah.
Yes.
But I can come up with something. That'll be easy to figure out.
Right, because when you move it for the next vessel, just retape the triangle gusset.
Well, no, I can't have tape. That's not in my personality. I'll figure out something better than that.
Well, you can use a sliding hose clamp.
I'll come up with something fancy.
But I'm just saying, That
Yeah,
helps you safer in the shop.
Yeah. Well, my whole point of that was that the laser vibrates enough to take the clarity out of the fine line of the thing. It takes out
Correct.
the precision out of your laser on the side of the vessel. Is what I was trying to get at.
You
Yeah.
could
Right.
you could use a drill tap, and then you could just put a rod in there and create that triangle.
There's
Yeah.
a million ways you could do it.
There's
So
a main way. Just use some adjustable hose clamps and you can change it every 5 minutes if you want.
yeah,
But anyway, all I've done, that is the cheapest thing. I've used that for probably 18 years. And it has saved my ass a million times. People say, well, how do you do that? Doesn't that stuff vibrate all over? I said, no, because I have my tool rest down inside, not outside the vessel.
I really like that, Mark, because I've been trying to figure out a way to do it because I've been thinking about, going with bigger and bigger and bigger boring bars, but moving the tool rest down into the vessel allows me to get deeper without needing a necessarily bigger boring. I got a 1/8 inch boring bar, but I turn largely dry wood and 18 inches off of the tool rest. That's as far as I can really go with even a 1/8 inch boring bar.
Yeah, that's a now I'm trying to think his name. Leon Thomas did a lot. His was about 8 feet long, and Philip Moulthrop's is 10 feet long. His boring bars, and they're about 2-inch pipe.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about making. So,
and then they put an automobile tail light down on where the cutting tip is, and they don't use any lasers or anything. They just hollow. They have that light in there, and they calculate the thickness depending on how bright the light shines back through the wood.
yeah.
And so that's what I have from Leon. All that stuff was always less than a 3/16 thick. And it's just done just like you're doing the cowboy hats. You put the light inside the cowboy hat and you thin it out according to the translucence of the wood. And you don't need the lasers or all that stuff.
But
anyway,
if I could come back to one point, I think the most important point that I was trying to bring out of that thing is if anyone's using the camera on this thing, make sure you get your cameras level. That's something that I think has been really missed on this since people started using these cameras. It has not been really brought up, but it's critical that the cameras are level.
Absolutely. Listen, you did a great demo. You brought up so many good points. As I said, the only thing that I have experienced is just those two things. Everything else, I agree with you. But
thanks, Mark.
Once you get more, any man in wood turning gets more than 4 inches away from a tool rest, he starts having control issue because there's too much leverage. And that's why on the people that make the bowls, I've showed it 3 or 4 times, they try to hold that tool rest way out. And guess what? Even on a 4-inch bowl, right, the leverage point drops back 6 inches on the bowl gouge, right? And when they put the left side of the tool rest down inside the bowl, then they can stay that 1 inch, the tip of the tool, the bowl gouge, can stay 1 inch away from the wood at all times, right? And nobody, I don't know of anybody else in this United States that has taught that for the last 20 years. Anyway, great demo. You brought up a lot of good
Was.
points. And if
Okay.
anybody wants to call me or anything, that big one that I have that goes down 13 inches, that cost me $10 to have the gusset welded, and they put in one of their, I went to one of these steel companies down here, and they push a button and that thing turns to a right angle in about 1 second. But anyway,
Yeah.
I didn't mean to interfere with you, Brent.
No, I
No,
appreciate it.
your points are always appreciated, Mark. That's why we like to listen to them and hear them.
Absolutely. So thank
But
you.
anyway, I'm sort of a crude old dude, but I've tried to make myself so safe in here so that any student that comes in here, they can handle it safely. And it eliminates one more thing, because all you've got to do is have a tool done in a hollow form, and for some unknown reason you catch a nail or you catch a knot or a void, and it catches you a little off guard, right? You're toast, because it's over before you know it happened. Anyway, thanks very much, Brent.
Thank you, Mark.
And anytime anybody wants to call me and consult, you're welcome. I'll share all of my ideas. I'll share all of my tooling. I'll share all of my safety things with you. All right? There's no questions asked.
Yep, that's for sure. Make sure when you call him, make sure you got time to talk.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, Mark. Thank you very much, sir.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Back to Brent. Anybody else have any questions on the laser setup or the video setup? How close his optimal thickness is? How any differences between the laser and the camera setup? Now's your time to ask. Otherwise, we're gonna probably get back into some gallery. Going once, going twice. Once again, fantastic demo, Brent.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
You did a
Brent.
good job illustrating the different caveats between both systems, and especially the planar, the nadir, which is something that I never thought about before. But wow, that makes a lot of sense on how the camera would be positioned and or the laser is positioned to make sure that you're following that overall curvature of your vessel as you're cutting through.
I don't believe it really makes a whole lot of difference on the laser and such. But
No?
No, I don't think so. But the camera,
okay.
camera most definitely. So
Okay.
No, I can
Thanks for
speak about
clarifying
what
that.
I can speak about what it does for the laser. If you're a little bit off on the laser, like your laser's pointing off to the side or whatever, you will get an elongated dot that doesn't accurately represent where your tool is. So it has a similar sort of effect. It's just less pronounced than when you're dealing with the camera, because you get a little more flexibility with the laser. But you know, you're still, I mean, the way you set it up is you're pointing at the, at the tool tip, but you're looking at the laser dot on the outside of your piece. So it distorts where your tool is inside the piece if it's not directly above your tool tip or whatever distance you've set it for from the tool tip. So yeah, it does make a difference. So in all things, with either the camera or the laser setup, they both make a lot of sense to have that laser directly above the aiming point, just so you can tell where things are inside.
And that brings up the big advantage, one of the big advantages of the camera over the laser, in that with the laser, you're constantly having to readjust that so that the laser is at the point in front of the cutter from the direction you're cutting. Whereas with the camera, you don't really have to be constantly readjusting the camera.
So this is why I adjust my laser to be on the tool edge rather than X amount. Then I judge on the outside. I don't let it get to the edge. So yeah, the discussion was in comments earlier. So but that's why I do it that way, so I don't have to keep adjusting it. So
I think we've probably had numerous demos on laser use over the years, I would suspect, but so that's kind of the reason I didn't go into that. So.
No, I appreciate it anyway, because I don't recall seeing a whole lot of them, but you know, it's good. It all works out well. So.
Yeah, it's a great. Go ahead, Mark.
I just want to say one thing to every single person that's listening. I don't care if you've been turning one day, 30 years, or whatever. Please speak up if you have discovered something that works for you, that helps increase safety, right? Everybody wants to learn. I learn from my students. Unbelievable thing, because the next guy sees something that's like 50 people watching an accident. Everybody sees it from a different perspective. And guess what? Somebody, I don't care whether they've been turning for 3 minutes, right? Might say, hey, well, what about this? Listen to them and then make a judgment. Because that's a big, something like this, because you people that are very novices, but the only way I got that experience was making every single mistake in the book and being lucky enough to live until I solved the problem. So everybody speak up when they've got an idea. We all may learn something.
Amen. Very well said. All right. Let's go back to Captain Eddie and get his thoughts on what he saw tonight. Captain.
Hey guys, boy, that was intense. I mean, we got to look at it, and then you know what the beauty of what we just saw was we had one turner interpret what he had seen and experienced and wanted to have in his shop, and then he modified it and changed it, and he had to think about the dollar that would go into it. And you heard his comments about that as to changes he made and how he can make them, and how the cost would really affect it, and with the pros and the cons of it. And then we had an experienced turner, a grumpy old guy named Mark Soleil, who we rely on his wisdom, and it drags out sometimes because he's got so much wisdom, but he came in with his thoughts. And that's the beauty of this. It's a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and then you take it all and you mush it together. And that's what we do here on Worldwide Woodturners. We mush it all together. And like Mark said a moment ago, we rely on you, the woodturners, to look in your back pocket and see what you have for a tip or a trick, an idea, a procedure, a technique, whatever you do that makes it a little bit better for you. When I was teaching, I'd have folks come here for lessons, and they'd say, okay, I want to hollow the inside of a bowl. Okay, the first thing we'll do is rig it up, and we'll turn a bowl using a cutter. No, I want to do something that's hollow. Okay, first thing I do is turn a bowl, no, I want to do something that's hollow. No, you need to do something where you're cutting wood effectively, and where you're controlling that edge, and where you'll know that edge is. Now, if you can see that edge and you understand where it's at and what it's doing, you will learn. But if it's down deep inside of something, even this far in, you can't see that cutter. You don't know what it's doing. All you're doing is guessing and hoping that doesn't do you any good. So sometimes backing up is the best way to go forward, is that you chuck up a new tool and you want to know what it does. Don't worry about going inside and hollowing something. Let's just hollow something on the outside. Huh? What do I mean? Well, put something up and watch the cutter cut. Put a bowl up. It's the same thing as hollowing in it. You're still going to be hollowing it, but you don't have a shield in front of you. The best demonstration I saw on that was a guy named John Barrios. He lives down in Houma, Louisiana. He did a demonstration at a club meeting, and he went inside the piece with his jig, and he had a little halogen light on the end of his tool shining on it. But he had put a void in the side of the tool, and our camera system was looking down inside that void. You could actually, at 3,000 RPMs, you could actually watch the cutter cutting on the inside of the bowl. Now, you and I couldn't stand there and watch it while we were turning, but with the use of the camera, we could see what that cutter was doing and when it was doing it. And we could see how the slightest twist, the slightest adjustment on his bar to adjust that cutter from being dead flat to put a little bit of bias on it and changing it from being all this cutting to just this cutting really affected it. Wasn't going to go as fast, but hell, you're not running a road race. You're just cutting wood. So John did this and showed us. It's beautiful. I used to have a tape of it, and I would show it to you, but I don't have those anymore. But it just got me thinking, maybe it's what you don't see is what's helpful. So next time you get a new tool and you wonder what it does, slow the lathe down. Yeah, slow it down. Don't speed it up because you never know how it goes fast. Slow it down, get a chunky piece of wood and try it and watch what it's cutting and change your presentation a few times to see what happens. If you're slightly above center, slightly below center, where's the sweet spot? What's the right angle of the cut? What's the right angle of attack? If you're going in with a cutter, where do you have to go to get the best cut? What do you do if you're using a fixed cutter? How do you get that little back cut? And what happens when you need to do the undercut? Where do you get? Those are the things you can experiment with when you have something wide and you can watch it cutting. And the key is shield up, get in there and watch it. If you need help, you need somebody to help you, even have somebody else operate the tool and you give them a little fine too, so you can watch the cutter. That's the important thing. You will pick up a lot of tips and tricks. And when you go to a demonstration, if they'll allow, get close up on it and look for just that. How are they presenting the tool? As we saw tonight, it makes a big difference. And it linked over to toolbar. When I was building tools, I built a whole bunch of tools with square shafts with an angled end that could be adjusted. And I had guys telling me, I don't want a square piece. I want to be able to, I don't understand what you want because I don't want my piece to move. Square give me a good flat bearing and I could adjust the cutter by rotating the axis on the end, So I had all the flexibility I needed at the cutter, but I had the rigidity of that bar, like Mark says. And you can step up in steel quality so much easier in square stock than round stock, really. And you bring your cost down a little bit too. So tonight we learned play around a little bit, but listen to all the stories that come in, put them all together, and you'll really be amazed at what you find. All right, we sell stickers for the club, and this week I got to order in right here. There he is.
Ray.
That's Ray. Out of Monroe, Michigan. That's one of Matt Harper's neighbors. He ordered some stickers. They'll be in the mail tomorrow to you, right? They will. And we have them available. But folks, send me a check. That the address and all is on the front of our newsletter and our website. Send me a check. Our PayPal thing it's a kind of an open door we don't want anymore and can't manage. So send me a check. There 10 stickers for $5. Live outside the continental United States, we need another buck for postage. But we do this. Now I will have those stickers and I'll be at SWAT. Now at that place, I'll be giving stickers away and sticking them on every single piece of tool I can find. So if you get a sticker, bump into me at SWAT. All right, let's go back to Matt. Matt's got all kinds of stuff dealing with gallery, correct, Matt?
One would hope. Tonight is some folks have left, so we're a little scant on the gallery. But I just wanted to reinforce. Yeah, we got it handled, folks. Don't worry. I just wanted to reinforce what you said, Captain, about being able to see the cutter. I've hollowed some natural edge and cavity pieces where as soon as you get through the cavity, you could see the cutter in the piece as it goes around. So, and it's very useful because you can see what you're doing, which is an interesting sort of change from when you can't. So, yeah, if you get a chance to see something like that or work with a piece that has got a lot of big cavities in it, you can really see some interesting things with your cutter. So I just wanted to reinforce that, Eddie.
All right. So
Very good.
See what it's like working with a pocket knife. You can't cut cardboard with a pocket knife with your eyes closed. So what makes it easy cutting wood with your eyes closed? So get up close. Got some great tips tonight. Really good tips. All right, let's go back to gallery. What's up?
Okay, first up is Stephen.
Hello.
What you got?
Can you hear me?
Hey, Stephen.
Yes. Yeah. What you got
Hey.
tonight, buddy?
But it's been a few weeks since I've tuned into Worldwide Woodturners, but I've been busy at the lathe. I got a few things if we have time for it. Thanks. My club had a challenge for a weed pot, so I did a few different ones. This is just a regular weed pot.
Is that cherry?
I think it's cherry. Yes, it was dry.
Looks like it.
That's
Very
some
well. Nice shape.
bug trails in it.
Well done.
And these flowers are I put these online. They're wooden flowers. They're solo wood, and they come very hard. But you soak them in paint, acrylic paint with glycerin, and they don't feel real right now. It's amazing. It softens the wood right up. Pretty neat little product. So that's one vase. Here's an off-center vase that I did.
Emerging vase.
Kind of off-center a little bit.
Fun. I love
Brenda.
And I tuned into Cindy Droza a few weeks back, and she had a little thing on bumblebees, so I did a bumblebee for it.
Oh, that's very cool.
Turn the bumblebee. Kind of looks neat in the flowers.
Looks great.
Oh, that's very nice.
And this was the other piece of this wood here. It has more bug trails in it, but this is off center also.
Well done.
Kind of looks like a lighthouse, I thought, a little bit.
Yeah, it does.
So that was my weed pots. And then I was looking at YouTube's, and Barbara Dill, I think, does off multi-axis turning. I tried. This is a vase here. I'll take the flowers out. This is multi-axis. It's 4 axes.
Yeah.
With a twist. So I turned that kind of nice.
With a twist, that come out great.
Yeah, it turned out pretty.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah.
At first, I had no idea what I was doing, and when it's going around on the lathe, I can't see a damn thing. You got to stop a lot.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, boy.
Because you see, it's a little thin here and a little thick there, but it came out not too bad for the first try. I got to keep at it, and I took a from a page from Mark Slay, and he said, put a dark base on it and a dark top with it.
Yep.
Kind of offsets the colors.
Brings out the character of the piece. Yes.
Yeah. Great
That's
tip.
real. That's real good doing a 4-point axis like that, and that being your first attempt. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. I was
that was
turned
you
out.
twisted them, right? You did a 1 to 3, 3 to 2, 2 to 1 kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's got like a little Sorby tool decoration on the bottom.
A little bit of embellishment. Very good.
Yep.
You didn't overdo the embellishment like a lot of folks do. That looks good. A little says a lot for the piece.
What's your
This was-
finish on them?
This was I think this was Obi Shine Juice. And this also, that's what I usually most of the time is Obi Shine Juice and Axe polish.
Hey, Stephen, there's a question in chat about where did you get the wing material for the bee?
A deli container, lid from a deli container. Just cut it up.
Great, outstanding.
I was looking for a source where I could get like a 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, size for that material, but everything's too thin or too thick, and it seemed like the deli containers were just the right size. So I hit the deli up a couple times. This is a piece of firewood from last winter. I could just see the beautiful grain in it when I couldn't put it in the stove. So
there you go.
Really pretty green.
Yeah, it looks real good.
Almost like a burrow on the inside.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like a piece that came from a crotch.
It was a really odd shaped piece of wood. But I just worked with it and made some kind of bowl out of it. It's just pretty wood. And then I got a little piece of, same thing with the firewood, just a piece of walnut bowl. And a little embellishment.
Well done. Yeah.
Good deal.
And then lastly, my first attempt at some carving and turning and pyrography, I did, and staining or dyeing. I did this autumn motif with the leaves.
Very nice.
Been busy.
Very
It's got-
ambitious.
Nice.
Yes.
Got some texturing here with the pyrography and outlining with the leaves for the pyrography. And I use the intrinsic dyes. It's a piece of poplar, and it actually has some chatoyance to it. It's kind of hard to see here.
Looks great.
It really turned out nice. This had a white bone poly finish. But the colors, I like the colors. So now that I know that I can do it, I'll probably try it in maple or something, a nicer wood. But for poplar, it
Yeah,
turned out.
looks good.
Yeah, poplar's a good wood to embellish like that because the grain is usually less than optional.
Right.
Optimal. Yep.
That's why I was surprised at really how pretty it is on the inside.
Yep. Nicely done.
Thank you. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, next up is James.
Hey.
How you doing?
Hey, James. How you doing, buddy?
Pretty good. I've got a little lidded box here that I did earlier this week. It's out of red maple, and the knob is a leftover piece from a hybrid pin blank.
Oh, there you go.
Has a lot of holes in it,
Right.
but just natural everything.
Hold it up higher. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's got some great character in it.
It really does. When
Good
I
save.
first looked at it, I figured that's gonna be trashed. So I figured out what the heck. Yeah. And it's
Yeah, it looks good, James.
Thanks. It's got about 4 coats of spray on lacquer on it. And it does seal pretty good.
There you go.
Yeah.
Is that from the lacquer or how tight your fit is?
It was the tight fit. It worried me for a while because I couldn't get it apart. Get a screwdriver out.
Uh-oh.
But it sort of worked itself loose. So I guess
Yeah,
I'll
it's
keep
the
it around
drying
for a
process.
while.
Yeah, once the center mass was taken out, it allowed the rest of the wood fibers to unstress themselves and move around.
Yeah.
It went vertically, so you're all good on that.
Yeah. But that's all I've got for this week.
Well done, sir.
Thanks.
All right, Matt, who else we got?
We got Joaquin.
Look at him. Oh my
Hey there.
God.
But Glenn, he'd give me some Juniper, and it really had twisted bark on it. Thought I'd do a few natural edge bowls with it.
There you go.
Mhm.
That looks great, Joaquin.
Yeah,
Especially
thank
keeping that sapwood in.
Yeah, I like that too. And this is
Yeah.
a smaller one that, it just is what it is,
Right.
And then we
Yeah, I
got
love working with that wood. It's fun.
Yes, it is. And then we've got a bead bow challenge. I haven't really done the challenge, but I've been practicing, or just I don't know what I'm going to come up with yet. And this is Texas ebony, and put 3 little beads on top of it. And a friend gave me some Jatoba, and it's a board 12 inches wide and 2 inches thick. And so I started out making a platter out of it. Well, I got it at 12 inches. Well, there's a big crack down through here. So I cut it out and I made this one here out of it, just practice with one of the challenges to do a beaded foot on it. And,
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. And so
that's the style of base I make.
And so this is not going to be my challenge. I'm going to make a bigger one with more beads and putting this beaded foot on it. But man, this wood is hard. It's also called a Brazilian cherry.
Yep. Yeah, it's super hard. I made some pens and stuff out of it. It's like granite.
When I was cutting it, it was hitting me in the chest like it was a machine gun, man. They were really coming off there. But anyway, that's it.
Very nice.
All right, thank you.
Bet.
Dane, you're up next. So let's see what you got for tool rest.
All right, so back on hollowing. So this is a tool rest that I had made for deep hollowing. Let me spin my phone around. Actually, I just do it this way. And so try to look on the computer, see what I'm just now roughing out a urn body. But here's the tool rest that I use. And so it's 13 inches of W1 steel all the way across. It was ground, the 1 inch post was ground down to the perfect roundness of the straight bar stock. There's an Allen 3/8 16 TPI Allen bolt that was sunk through the center, and then it's welded all around. And I get no vibration at all whenever I'm down deep hollowing with my articulated monster rig, and which the monster rig is what all the other articulated arms that are on the market now by Tim Yoder and Simple Hollowing and all of them, because Monster let their patent expire and didn't fight it anymore. So, but this is what I use for deep hollowing. 1 inch bar. It's W1 is ball bearing steel. It's one of the hardest tool steels available, and I got this through Rick Harrell, and you can only contact him through International Association of Pen Turners, and he's got a myriad of tool rests available, but he'll make a custom rig, no problem for you. So I've had a couple of them made and sent off to a couple different folks here within the group, and I think they've been satisfied with what they had, for that tool rest for their deep hollowing. So, but yeah, I just wanted to share that. So that's all I've got, Matt.
All right. Well, very cool.
What we got next?
We got Nobody is next. But I did make some stuff myself this week. So
did you now?
Go here.
Imagine that.
Well, yeah, fancy that. Yeah, I just made this little honey dipper because I had some oak and I was just tuning up my shop a little bit. I was teaching all weekend, so this is big. This is like 9 inches long. So it's most of them are real small, and I was like, we got quart jars that we're using to that have honey in them that we're getting. So we need a big honey dipper. So and using Martin Clarkson's advice, I made these round instead of rectangular
That is
profile. Yeah, because he said that they work better. So I just did it yesterday, so we don't have any results from the in-house testing yet. But there you go.
Oh, right on, right on.
Yeah, absolutely,
Well,
Sue. You can't, that bottom of that honey jar just begs for access. So waste not, want not, right?
exactly. Well, and you'll
Right,
find with the rounded flutes, when you dip it into the honey will actually run off of those flutes instead of the square that the majority of folks do. And the honey just sits inside and it doesn't flow down. Your little honeycomb that you've made. So if you round off those beads instead of making them square, you'll get way better honey coverage or drippage coming off of that honey dipper.
Are they round
Very
at the
important. Very important, Dane. And I made sure that the bottom was flat so you could really get at the bottom of that jar too. So
Thanks, Dane.
Yes,
That's a good
yes,
tip.
that way you can scoop it up.
That's a
Yeah,
good
yeah,
tip.
and when you look at the majority, everybody turns honey dippers, at one point or another in their turning career, and you make them big, you make them thick, whatever. But when you get down to that, the actual honeycomb, everybody just goes in with their, stab in with their parting tool, go down and make that cone. And without giving the attention to each of the flutes, if you give the attention to the flutes and round them off, you will find the honey comes off of that dipper instead of just being stuck there. And then you got to turn it sideways to get any drippage. So
fascinating. Yeah, like I said, I can't wait to try it out myself. So
okay, right on.
But that's all I've got on the list. So if y'all want to get onto something else, knock yourself out.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think Cade has something to show. Cade, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm just heading down to the shop and getting a couple of things together I can show. So
okay,
I'll be on in 3 minutes or so.
Oh, okay. All right, right on.
Just finished dinner, so I'm just running downstairs to show those couple things.
Nothing wrong with that. So hey, I want to go back to Doug Miller. Doug,
Yes,
you
sir.
still on here?
Yeah.
For your cat head,
Uh-huh.
how did you turn that?
What do you mean? How did I turn it? On a leg?
Yeah, all right. Well, that's enough of Doug Miller then.
Oh, come on. He gets points for being a smart aleck.
What I had on here, in fact, if I change cameras, I can show you just a little better. Here we go.
There
Get
we
Mr.
go.
Cat out of the way. What I had was in my chuck.
It
I had,
was flat. For some reason, I thought it was like the cat head was tilted. But okay, right on.
he's a separate
Yep.
piece.
So
I
I see what you did.
I had actually a box blank that I drilled a wormwood screw in and mounted it on the screw. And so I had, my end grain was going this way. And I turned him so he was oblong on his head, and I used the screw hole. I had a screw hole in the bottom side of the head. I had a screw hole in this joint, in this body part as well, going down. And so I used a piece of dowel, maybe an inch long,
Connect them.
between
Okay.
the two, and some wood glue, and perfect.
Okay.
Bada,
All right.
bada boom.
Good
That
explanation.
answers, okay. That answer the question you had?
Yes, sir.
Better
All
than the
right.
smart aleck question or the answer?
Yeah, I'm just giving you shit. That's all.
But anyway,
We're
yeah,
all
So,
friends here, you know.
came out
and the
really
ears
good.
look like they're turned as cones and then cut through the middle or something. How's that work?
Exactly.
Okay. All
Yeah, I
right.
took I had a piece of oak. It was the top rail of a church pew. Well, same thing. You may remember a couple years ago, I had a whole bunch of pin blanks. In fact, I still got a bunch of pin blanks out of oak that I cut from a church pew. And this was one of those top rails, rounded. And I just put it between centers, did a tenon, stuck that in my chuck. Exactly like you said, man. I turned a dowel or made a dowel with it, and then did the end down to a cone about an inch long, and took it over to bandsaw, stood it on end, flat part down, zipped it right through the bandsaw, easy peasy.
Now, I was looking. I was looking at your ears there. Can you tell me, would they fit better on the top of the head if maybe there was a dimple in the bottom of the cat ears?
Yes, they probably would.
Okay.
What I could also do, turn them with the fat end to the outside end, taper them toward the headstock, and then I could actually dish out that bottom side. That'd be
Gotcha.
simple to do. That'd be a simple thing. Actually, dish it out, turn it down to size, dish it out, then cone it toward the headstock. Then I could take it over to the bandsaw, same thing, cut it, and like you say, it would be they would sit down a little better. I did sand them a bit, so they fit better now than what they did originally. But yeah, I was trying to do it
Very,
quickly.
very, very cool. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I was just looking at it, and I can see some space there, so I was wondering. Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
And you're just I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dana. I'm sorry.
So on the cat head, instead of doing the screw hole, would you be able to do a tenon instead and hold it in your pin jaws if you had them?
Oh yeah, you could do that very easily. Or I was talking about it after the demo. It'd be easy to turn that as one piece, the head and the body. The ears have to be separate, but the head and the body could easily be one piece. I just chose to do this. One thing was this piece of wood, this hornbeam had some spalting in it, and so I've got some spalting lines in there, and it kind of gives more detail to the face.
Yeah.
Same thing with the whatever that is. It's got a little spalting in it too, and some has a little quilting in it. You can just see it right through there. Just gives a little character to the body. So it turned out okay. Hornbeam. And Matt, what's the wood you like when it's spalted?
You talking about box elder?
No. White, it spalts with nice black lines.
Yeah, box elder, soft maple, Manitoba maple.
No, it was something else.
Hackberry.
Hackberry, that's it. Thank you. Whoever spit that out. Thank you. That's the one I'm looking for.
What is it?
Yeah, this is hackberry.
Hackberry.
Hornbeam, hackberry, and the ears are oak.
Okay. Right on. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Anytime.
All right. Let's slide over to Mr. Bolger and see what's happening up in his shop. Hey, Cade.
Hey, how's it going? Hi
bad.
everybody. Hope all is well. So I have a couple things on my lathe. That's why my phone's kind of set up differently than usual. It's just better with the light from above, doing it this way. So I have a couple of things I've been working on. I'll show them. And then I have a really cool tool I got for my birthday about a month ago. And it's game changer. I love it. It's powerful enough. And I can, I'll talk about it when I get to it. All right. So First things, I'll go smallest to biggest. Let's see, switch my camera here. See if I can zoom in. Let's see. I did it before when I was setting up my phone. Oh well, okay. I'll use this light too. So you may remember some hair sticks I did a couple months ago. I showed them. They were hybrid wood and brass. They looked very much like this. This is black walnut and brass hair sticks for a lady. She wanted another pair. So here they are here. Nice, perfect match.
Those are beautiful, Cade.
And one thing she wanted was she wanted to showcase the artist, and she's never seen stuff sort of hybrid like this for hair sticks. So she wanted it to be engraved. So here it is engraved. It says designed by Cade, and it's filled with 24-karat gold leaf impregnated paint that was able to penetrate deep into the engraving. Once it is dry, it's pretty much gold flake. So they are matching. So the other one has it as well here. You can see designed by Cade on the hair sticks. So those were fun. I actually had to make drive centers and drive spurs for them to hold them as I turned them. So a little tip, if you have aluminum or you have different things, this was aluminum that I use for, what do I use? I use it for finials, right? Brass and aluminum finials. That's one of my demos. So this one here, let's see. When I take this little point out of my live center, this one fits perfectly into my live center. It has a point, and I cut teeth into the tips of the drive center for my tailstock. This one is for my pin jaws or spigot jaws or collet jaws. I have them marked for which chuck each one goes in. This is held in the chuck. This is the other drive spur, and they're turned between centers. So get innovative and make things to finish a job. So this is a box, Asian inspired box. I did a demo for Woodturners 360 maybe a month or so ago. I didn't get around to posting it yet or talking about it yet. The finial is brass, and the base of this box is crabapple. Yeah, not quite finished to my shiny standard yet, but it's getting there. I also did another one, or well, I've done many for my upcoming trip to the United Kingdom, where I'll be demonstrating at their symposium. This is a little box I did. This is out of walnut. Let's see. There we are there.
Very pretty.
That's a nice grain match. I just got to find it. Not that side. This side. Over here. Let's see. Where's my light right? There we are.
Sweet.
Nice,
Really
Dave.
gorgeous.
Good job.
All right. Thanks. The demo I did actually, no, not last week, a couple weeks ago. Actually, I'll show another box first since I'm on boxes. This is a little Middle Eastern inspired box, I guess you could say, because some of their temples or roofs of the, what's that temple again? The Taj Mahal has sort of a lid or a top like this. Not quite the same as the spire, but I wanted something different. Again, it's black walnut. I got a hold of quite a bit of this stuff because I had a lady that was moving and she had slabs that were 3 to 4 inches thick, 2 to 3 feet wide, 8 to 12 feet long. She said I can have them. She's moving. She doesn't want to take them. So I have a stockpile of walnut, cherry, spalted beech, and she's like, take as much as you can. It's free. And so I finally got up there because I was so busy and I couldn't get up there. So she's like, look, I finally have, you better get up here because I'm moving at the end of the week. So I'm like, okay, I could do that. So I finally got up there. I was so happy I did because I got such a score. I milled up some of it into bowl blanks, a lot of it into box blanks. Offcuts in and around cracks. I got finials and hair sticks and other spindle work. And then live edge stuff will be cast in epoxy. So, I mean, it's a whole rigmarole of goodies. And I was driving home. I mean, my van was going like this down the road. I was like, don't hit a bump on the back. Okay. So last, I don't know, what is it, 2 weeks or 3 weeks now? I did a back scratcher, laminated handle here, which is walnut and brown maple. But I also did a dyeing technique on layering alcohol dyes. And the finish really made this piece pop. Okay.
Yeah, it did. Nice job.
Yeah, rest that on there. Yeah.
Really beautiful.
So we did greens and navy blue and baby blue and red and yellow and green and black and white, all layered in different successions to lighten and blend and pull them all together. The handle I did just straight black to set it across, frame each individual piece, let them be their own individual rather than one solid piece. So that was the demo piece. I finally got around to finishing. Now I can photograph and show. But the biggest job of the week is a burl sink. I've been commissioned by a furniture company, and he also does real solid wood kitchens and home renovations and all kinds of stuff. It's not like the particle board with laminated veneer over top you get offshore. This is real solid wood, and he does your kitchen right. He got a real big burl at his hunting camp. It was a sugar maple burl, and sugar maple is where our maple syrup comes from. This maple burl was absolutely massive when I went and I picked it up. I had to chainsaw it in half. And even then, it took 2 of us to lift it in my van. I left it in my van for 2 days, and then I lifted it myself into my basement. It was quite heavy. After that, I let it sit for a few days, actually probably a week and a half. Then I carried it back upstairs into the backyard. I did some chainsawing, and I cut it all together, milled it all up, and balanced it. And I turned it. It's in the drying process. So I'll show the what is going to be his wood burl sink. And when I post it, or maybe I could go into photos and show photos of the burl beforehand, if you like. Did people want to see the burl beforehand?
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right. Let me just see my photos here. Hmm. All right. So this was the burl on my lathe. That's after I cut it a third time and got it balanced. Let's see, stop share. I'll go back and I'll share another photo here. Photo. Here's the top of it. When I found the center, drilled the holes for the faceplate. And even at that size, it was probably close to, I don't know, 80, 90 pounds maybe. Here's another one. So here's the front or the bottom of the bowl. And then I wonder if this is going to work. No, that's sort of a side view. I have some videos. I wonder if the videos would work. But some of them are far too long. I have to trim them. But we could do a little snippet of it. Actually, this is photos. So that's the burl itself. I wonder if I can here. I'll see if I can share video. No, I'll have to figure that out. All right, so that's what it was before. It was 25% moisture content when I started the turning process. Here is the outside. So here's the base. Here's the tenon. Here's the side. Nice figure crotch. It was crotch of a burl. We have nice figure here. This is only one coat of diluted tung oil, 50-50 with mineral spirits, just to stabilize the wood, allow it to dry slowly. And I am also doing the burp the bag method, so it does not dry too quickly, warp excessively, and potentially break apart. Now you may be wondering, what about all these voids and bark inclusions? Aren't those going to be a pain in the butt to clean if you don't do something about them? Yes, they would. These are all going to be covered in epoxy. The bark, to continue to show the bark, I'm going to do a clear, crystal clear epoxy. And this void will be a crystal clear epoxy. All these smaller cracks will be a black epoxy to keep the same coloring and look of the bark inclusions. This will be a clear epoxy, and then that'll be clear epoxy. This, where a branch was coming out, this will all be clear epoxy filled, and it will be coated so it's smooth, easy to clean, waterproof, dent proof, mold proof, because it will have an epoxy finish. Here's the inside. I haven't drilled the hole yet. He is getting me the pipe fitting with the drip flange. So once this is dry, I will put it back on the lathe. I haven't sanded it yet. I will put it back on the lathe. I will sand it. I will then blow it out with air. I will fill all these bark inclusion voids with black epoxy. And then sort of these deeper voids will be a clear cast epoxy. So you still see the voids in the bark. And then it will be mounted on a chicken rotisserie motor. that will spin this at a slow speed, and I will be applying epoxy, so the turning and the spinning of the rotisserie motor will self-level all the epoxy over top. The hole needs to be drilled a 16th to 3/32, or maybe even 1/8 in total, which would be a 16th on either side, to take into account the epoxy finish for the piping. This will have a slight recess with a beaded rim in and tapered down for the drip flange. And yeah. Any questions? That's it for me.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, it looks
Gorgeous.
outstanding. All right, well, with it, we're just past the top of the hour. We're gonna stay here on Cade here for a little bit. But this is the demarcation point for the official Worldwide Woodturners Zoom meeting to end. So for those of you that want to drop off, you don't have to worry about saying hi, bye, and good night, and everything like that, or feeling guilty when you drop off. So this is time for you to go.